beat the Indiana in recent NBA. In NBA history, this team is set up to be a major dynasty in the NBA. So for those is being
every time with the Tommy Clark.
Real.
But for the buyers out there, it also the home ownership should be a little bit easier.
We can't see tomorrow, but we can hear it. And it sounds like peace of mind, knowing our lakes will be better protected by placing Line 5 in the Great Lakes Tunnel. And that we've added extra safety measures while we work to build it, because we're committed to keeping the Great Lakes safe for generations to come. Tomorrow is on. Visit enbridge.com/line5 for more information. Enbridge. Life takes energy.
From the Blazy Electric Studios, this is Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt, WLUN, Pinconning Bay City, Saginaw, Midland. Michigan sports aren't just a game, they're a way of life. And now we've got a show dedicated to die-hard sports fans like you. Hosted by a guy who's borderline obsessed with the wins and losses of all your favorite teams.
He's crazy.
Every weekday morning from 9 to noon, Ben Bosscher brings you the talk that matters. The teams, the stories, and the players you care about most. This is the Ben Bosscher Show. Appointment radio across the state.
Remember that. Hello, and welcome into the Ben Bosscher Show right here on 100.9 The Mitt. We are live on YouTube. We are live on Facebook. We are live in your cars up in the Great Lakes Bay region. Hope everyone's having a fantastic Thursday. It's almost a weekend. We've got a lot to get to today. It's a show I am super excited about. If you're just now tuning in, if you're a new listener, we have replaced the Dan Patrick Show here in the Great Lakes Bay region. We're covering your teams, the teams that you care about the most, the teams that I care about. So without further ado, let's just jump right into it today because we've got a lot to cover. Tigers, the Stanley Cup Finals that were on last night. I want to tie that back in with something that Steve Yzerman did that now you can look back upon and think, wow, that was stupid. We've got some NBA to get to tonight. Kyle, I am pumped up because after the show, me and you are going golfing.
Yes, I'm super excited. It's going to be a nice day out today too, man. Sunny and 75. Perfect day. Hitting the links.
I'm not going to lie to you, though. I'm not going to lie to the people. I'll raise my hand and admit I did not make it through yesterday's Tigers game. These early starts, this is going to sound so naive of me because there's people that are probably listening that get up much earlier and have been doing it for years and years and years. But this new early schedule routine that I'm jumping into, it finally caught up to me yesterday, and around 9 o'clock, I basically cashed out. And once the Tigers got put into a rain delay, I was like, I'm not going to make it. I'm just not going to. I got through the first inning, got to see Sawyer Gipson-Long return to the mound. It was fun. I like that combo of the four seam and the two seam he's got going because he gets people with the sinker a couple times and then he has that high levitating fastball. I saw the Tigers go on a scorching hot run in the first inning. All 9 batters got to come up to the plate. All of them had relative success. And then after that, crashed.
Doing the people a disservice, man.
I know.
You're the voice of the people.
I'm really doing them a service, though, because if I would have stayed up, I'd be a mess right now. I wouldn't be able to do the show.
True, that's a good point.
So I had to give myself a good night. I had to catch up. And I will say this. I woke up feeling super refreshed. I was like, all right, let's go plan out a show. I wonder what time it is. Because usually I wake up a few minutes before my alarm. And I rolled over and checked my phone. And you know how if you have it turned on like the ESPN app, it'll show you the scores, like when the game is actually live.
Yeah.
I grabbed my phone. It's like, hey, the Tigers are in the 9th inning. And I see the time, and it's 12:30. I was like, oh, I get to go back to bed and get another 6 hours of sleep. This is great.
But you didn't watch the rest of the game when you pulled up? I mean, you had a chance to finish it out.
I saw they were winning it would have been the bottom of the 9th. And when I grabbed my phone, they had 2 outs. And I was like, by the time I get the thing pulled up, it's probably going to be over. So I box scored, watched for a few minutes, saw that they won, went right back to bed, another 6 hours. Now we're here.
Wait till next week, man. We got Loons back in the building. It's gonna be some long mornings and nights.
Don't get me wrong, I love me some Loons baseball, but yeah, those are gonna be some quick turnarounds from being here the night before and then being here very early on in the morning to plan a show. All right, so without further ado, look, before the Tigers went into a rain delay, there was a report yesterday that got me really excited. And it's something we had talked about on Monday. It's something we have been kind of chatting back and forth about since spring training. Why have the Tigers not gone this route? Why have they not looked into this option? Well, it seems like this actually might be a realistic thing that's happening in the near future here. Colt Keith playing third base. The reason it didn't happen in spring training is probably as simple as we thought he was going to be the everyday first baseman with Spencer Torkelson not on the team. Well, once it became clear that Torkelson was going to make the team because he was raking from inside the box, there was an awkward situation and has been for the better part of the year where, all right, if Kerry Carpenter's going to be the DH because you don't really want him out in the outfield, either Colt Keith or Gleyber Torres has to be on the bench. You can't maximize every bat on this team. Obviously, that's not what Tigers fans want. That's not what the Tigers organization wants because they've already paid Colt Keith. They don't want him sitting on the bench for no reason. But he just simply hadn't outperformed Gleyber Torres this season, and there wasn't a real reason that you could point to as to why Colt Keith should be playing over Gleyber Torres really ever. So it put him in a tough situation where, yeah, we're going to find room for you to be DH on the days that Kerry Carpenter's out in the outfield. But let's be honest, we don't really want Kerry Carpenter in the outfield as much as, you don't want him on the outfield more than he has to be. So what is the alternative? How do we figure out a best way to maximize this lineup? Well, the best way to maximize the lineup is for Colt Keith to start playing third base again, something he did in the minors coming up through the Tigers farm system. One of the reasons that they've kind of not jumped right into that and had Colt Keith playing second base and first base all this time is he had dealt with a shoulder injury back in 2022. Ironically, he hurt his shoulder the exact same way Bryce Rayner did yesterday, or 2 days ago, I guess now at this point, diving back into first base on a pickoff attempt. He has a labrum injury, missed 4 months, and from that point, that's not that long ago, 3 years ago. They wanted to protect his shoulder by moving him closer to first base, and he hasn't gone back to third base since then. So if you're going to finally move him back to third base, which it seemed like based on some things Hinch said yesterday, they were prepared to do it if the game called for it yesterday, all of a sudden not only are you maximizing the roster, but then you can start platooning Zach McKinstry and Colt Keith. And I know what you're thinking. Those are both lefties. You can't really platoon them. But take a look at McKinstry's splits on the season. A 773 OPS just straight up. But he has a reverse split going on to where him as a left-handed bat actually has a better OPS, 978, against left-handed pitching. Then Colt Keith, on the other hand, complete opposite, 417 OPS versus the left-handed pitching, 794 versus right-handed pitching. You can actually start to platoon Colt Keith and Zach McKinstry at third base going forward if it means Gleyber Torres is going to be the second baseman every day and Spencer Torkelson is going to be the first baseman every day. Just adds even more versatility to this lineup. Well, what happens with Andy Ibanez? Hopefully he's DFA'd because right now he's a 624 OPS and it's not any better against the lefties right now. I think the Tigers keep finding ways to get even better. They get Parker Meadows back from injury, makes them even better. Now they've got an opportunity to maximize their roster to the point where you look at their lineup and suddenly it's not only really, really good, it's not only great, but it is just about as ideal as it gets. With Colt Keith at third, or I guess Zach McKinstry in some situations, with Riley Green in left, Parker Meadows in central, Perez in right, Kerry is the DH, Torkelson at first, Torres at second base, Javi Baez back where he belongs at shortstop, and then Dingler behind the dish. That is the best version of the Tigers lineup that doesn't include a Matt Vierling. And again, we have no idea if Matt Vierling's coming back at all this season. Colt Keith playing third base makes the Tigers even better. If they can pull it off and he's not an absolute mess out there, the bar is not very high for the defensive third baseman on this team. That is how the Tigers take even another step further and start separating themselves again from the rest of the competition in the American League. That's how you maximize the bats, Kyle. And it feels like this is a possibility now.
Yeah, I mean, with the big question all season, even with the Tigers' success, still being, what is the third baseman of this team? Like, will there be a move made at the deadline to go get a bat? Because that's the spot that you still feel questionable about. But if Colt Keith moves to third base, that question is answered. It is Colt Keith. Because despite, the average number isn't the best this season for Colt Keith, he's still improved as a hitter overall big time this season. His on-base percentage is up a ton out of last season, seen the plate a lot better. And it's not like Colt Keith is a spectacular second baseman or first baseman, right?
No, so very bad, actually.
Right, so if he's already in the lineup playing defense, you're moving him to third, you don't have an elite option that he's replacing.
Nope.
McKinstry, Ibanez, these guys aren't great third basemen anyways, so it really makes things very dangerous for this Tigers lineup going forward.
McKinstry, a +1, outs above average at third base. We love the versatility. We love that his bats come to life this year. We love that he can play basically anywhere out on the field. He's not an elite third baseman. Andy Ibanez, a 0 outs above average at third base, and the bat has struggled. That'd be an understatement to say that the bat has struggled this season. If Colt Keith can be an average first baseman, an average third baseman, the Tigers all of a sudden are maximizing their roster. We need it. I say we. The Tigers fans need it. I think just right off the jump, if you're able to do this, all of a sudden you finally found a way to get every single bat in your lineup. Because it was an awkward situation there for a while when it was like, hey, Colt, I know we
still is.
Yeah, it's like, hey, we paid you all this money. We paid you before Riley Green. We paid you before Spencer Torkelson without any real production to show for it. You're kind of on the bench right now because you're not outperforming Gleyber Torres. We're not taking you out for Spencer Torkelson, or vice versa. You're not taking Spencer Torkelson out for Colt Keith. And it's just this awkward situation where every single one of us was kind of scratching our heads. It's like, why'd the Tigers decide to pay this guy early? What did they see in him for them to want to cough up the money way earlier than they've done with any other player? Now you can find a way to incorporate him into the lineup every single day. Because again, the 773 OPS is above league average. That's McKinstry, I'm sorry. The 794 OPS versus right-handed pitching, that's very helpful. And I know they've got an overload of lefties right now. You want more righties in this lineup, ideally. But Ibanez is not helping you in that situation. And McKinstry has the reverse splits.
Yeah.
That is why this works. It wouldn't work if McKinstry didn't have the reverse splits because you'd be searching for another right-handed bat. But because of McKinstry's unique reverse split here where he's better against the lefties, this is ideal. This is how you maximize the roster. And that doesn't even include what it looks like with Matt Vierling back, because once that almost makes me feel like if they're going to move Colt Keith to third, they kind of know good chance Vierling's not coming back. Because if he does now, what is it, when Sale gets taken out of the lineup? Guy who's hitting 300 right now?
Yeah, he's been great. I mean, that's the part, because it wasn't awkward up until the return of Perez and Meadows happening in the same 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. Because Colt Keith could just play DH or give Torque a DH slot and play first for him. But once those guys return, Meadows is an everyday guy. Perez is playing like an everyday guy right now. So it turns into a situation where Kerry has to designate hit, and then what's going to happen with Colt Keith? So this is ultimately the right decision made by AJ Hinch, and I'm excited to see it come into play.
989-837-6125. That's the number to the Mitt messages. We're live on YouTube. You can drop a comment in there as well. We'll start reading those throughout the show. We've got a lot to get to the rest of the day. Look, yesterday I think the Red Wings got a slap in the face. At least I did while watching the Stanley Cup Finals. I want to touch on that next. We'll obviously do a Mitt morning catch coming up. I want to preview a little bit of the NBA Finals in terms of do the Pacers actually have a chance of winning one game, let alone the series. And, of course, the Tigers All-Star ballot, or the MLB All-Star ballot, dropped yesterday. You can finally start casting your votes. How many Tigers did Kyle and I vote for in the opening round? That wouldn't be the round. What would that be? The opening ballot?
It's just the opening, the start of voting, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't really know the correct term.
All right, that's coming up in the 10 o'clock hour. I'll tell you why the Red Wings fans got slapped in the face yesterday during the Stanley Cup Finals. Next here on the Ben Bosscher Show, 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
Detours driving you bonkers? Ideal Party Store's got your back with the Detour discount. While the Lafayette Bridge is closed, enjoy 10% off select craft beer 6-packs and 10% off 4 bottles of select wine, 750 milliliters or more, with 2 great locations, 908 North Johnson on the east side and 401 Salzburg on the west side. Ideal Party Store makes every detour worth it. Serving Bay City since 1934, we're here to make you the life of the party.
From making athletic footwear stronger and lighter to powering the future of electric racing vehicles, material science and R&D are the MVPs of innovation. At Dow, we collaborate with customers and partners to tackle a wide range of sports product challenges with cutting-edge advancements in technology. Dow's innovations can help to improve performance and sustainability throughout the world of sports. Dow, at the intersection of sports and science.
You have better things to do than to job hunt or scramble to find your next great hire. So let Spherion do it. We say local is our superpower because we live and work where you live and work. We know the local job market. We're here in person. And we're locally owned, so you won't find a partner who's more engaged and literally invested in your success. If you're ready for something better, start with Spherion. Visit us online at Spherion.com to find your local Spherion office. Let's get to work.
When the summer heat is on, keep your cool with Answer Heating and Cooling. Our expert team specializes in fast, reliable air conditioning repairs, installations, and maintenance. Stay comfortable all season long with top-notch cooling solutions and simply outstanding service. Plus, with financing options and special rebates, cooling your home has never been more affordable. Answer Heating and Cooling, where comfort is our priority. Try our new schedule online option or call us today.
From Midland to Bay City, Saginaw to Sanford, from Frankenmuth, Greenland, and Hemlock to Auburn, Essexville, and Pinconning, 100.9 The Mitt is the heartbeat of the Great Lakes Bay region and proud of it. We're your home for local sports, local stories, and local pride. Whether you're in Birch Run, Beaverton, Gladwin, Chesapeake, or Coleman, football, basketball, hockey, Spartans, NFL, Loons, all right here. 100.9 The Mitt, Mid-Michigan's sports leader. Local sports don't stop when the game ends, and neither do we. 100.9 The Mitt is your digital home for the latest news across the state of Michigan. From high school to college and the pros, it's all on our socials. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Just search 100.9 The Mitt and join the squad. Stay locked in on the latest stats and stories with exclusive video takes from local talent. Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
Welcome back into the Ben Bosscher Show. We're kicking things off talking Colt Keith and the Tigers. Because if he can actually move to third base, we've actually got a legit chance of maximizing this roster. The awkwardness of everything gets taken away with Colt Keith on the bench. You can DFA Ibanez because he's been basically useless this season. And McKinstry's got the reverse splits, him being better against the lefties, even though he's a left-handed batter. That actually, like, if you can start platooning him and Colt Keith at third base, or do whatever you want, if you're AJ Hinch, that I think is how you maximize this roster and get even better as this Tigers team. 989-837-6125 in the YouTube chat. Katie Chunk says Connor McDavid anytime goal scorer. Woof. Yeah, that was our lock of the day yesterday.
Yikes.
We're getting clowned on for the lock of the day, even though we hit the first 2 days.
I mean, look, you brought it up a win in the opening segment yesterday, so it feels only right that you bring up an L.
You know what that sounds like to me? It sounds like somebody didn't want to take the lock of the day the first 2 days, and they're like, all right, this guy's hot, tailed me, and now they're mad at me. Hey, I'm up on the week if you're following the bets. We're still up on the week. Got a chance to keep going.
Chance to make up for it today.
Another
But
chat.
first L.
Yeah, first L. It's okay. Can't be perfect. Chat in the chat. How about that? Says was just talking about this morning. If he is even an average third baseman, it's the perfect lineup. Yeah. I can't wait to see this come to fruition. It didn't happen.
I do think asking him to be an average third baseman might be a stretch, but the
bar
bat
is
will make
low
up for it. Yeah, the bar is low. You're right.
Let's go to some of the texts here. Ray, Ben Bosscher calling Kerry Carpenter a bad outfielder is hilarious. Ben, let's see you go out there and play outfield. That's just the stupidest argument ever, dude. Of course I couldn't go out there and play outfield in a Major League Baseball game. What kind of text is that? I hate when people say that. What would you do?
Early morning rage bait.
It worked. 8 out of 10 rage bait. Because that worked. Okay, Scott from Midland. Ben Bosscher is a joke. Get a real show on. Okay. Another one that says, I miss the Dan Patrick show every time I hear Ben. Awesome. Cool. All right. We'll move on from that. Hey, we're talking about the teams you guys care about more. That's how I justify it for you. Okay. The Red Wings, I think, got a big slap in the face last night with the Stanley Cup Finals on. I think it was just more evidence that Steve Yzerman has no idea what he's doing anymore as the GM of this team. Now, how do those two things relate? There's two teams that were not the Red Wings playing yesterday. But former Red Wing Jake Wallman scored a point. It's just a reminder to Wings fans that Yzerman has no idea what he's doing anymore. Let's go through the timeline real quick on Jake Wallman. In 2022, Yzerman acquires Jake Wallman, right? So he trades Nick Leddy and Luke Witkowski for Wallman and a second rounder. Trades with St. Louis. So he trades with St. Louis, Nick Leddy and Luke Witkowski for Wallman and a second rounder that ends up turning into Andrew Gibson. Wallman would score 43 points with Detroit the next 3 seasons. And then in 2024, Detroit attaches a second-round pick to Jake Wallman in order to trade him to San Jose for future considerations just to shed cap. Then in 2025, he scores 32 points for San Jose, and they trade him to Edmonton, in which he scored a point for last night, for a 2026 first-round pick and a prospect. The Red Wings used a second-round pick to get him, moved on from a second-round pick to get rid of him, and then Edmonton has to give up a first-round pick and a prospect to get him in the building, and then he's contributing for them last night in the Stanley Cup. Yzerman's inability to read the market is fascinating. That is malpractice by your GM. There are some people out there that still defend this guy. Like he's not going into year number 7 or year number 6 of being the GM for this team. If his name was Ben Bosscher or Joe Schmo, he'd be gone and it wouldn't even be a question. I don't understand how people are still defending this guy. The inability to read the market and what happened over the course of the last 3 seasons with Jake Wallman is a perfect example of malpractice on behalf of Steve Yzerman, the general manager of the Red Wings. That makes no sense.
I mean, in his defense, though, that there was some time that had passed between transactions, you know? Like, it's not like guys' value just stay the same over time. Right?
No, guys' value don't stay the same over time, but it's not like he wasn't productive for the Wings. He scored 43 points in the next 3 seasons. Then they attached a second rounder to him to get off the contract just to shed some cap space. They didn't do anything with that cap space. Then he's worth a first-round pick plus a prospect a year later.
Yeah, it really had to hurt Red Wings fans watching. I mean, probably you're rooting for him as well, too, but
he's a great player for the Wings.
Definitely is a stab in the back, yeah.
And that's just a reminder. It's like, that's just another thing that Steve Yzerman's done where it hasn't really added up. It doesn't feel like there's a vision right now. You've got unhappy players, unhappy fans, and what's going to happen because of it is probably nothing because the owner's cheap and doesn't want to move on from what was once considered, still is considered, a legend in the city of Detroit. But Steve Yzerman, the GM, and Steve Yzerman, the player, once you separate those two people, one of them was really good at their job and one of them has been below mediocre at their job. So
my question for you is, with Stevie Y and the Wings, right? We saw the Tigers this season. We complained about their offseason a little bit, and they just had a ton of internal development and have become one of the better teams and the best team in Major League Baseball without any major moves. And we had a complaint of the offseason. Hypothetically, if the Red Wings have a ton of internal development and just come out and outperform at the start of next season, where are you at with Stevie Y in that stance? Because obviously, if you compare it to Scott Harris, you are still in the mindset that I don't know how much Scott Harris is to reward for this. I still question a lot of the moves he made. I still think he should have done different things in the offseason. Would you take that same approach with Stevie Y in this hypothetical?
No, but I think Steve Yzerman, if he had the Red Wings' success totally depends on the moves Steve Yzerman makes this offseason. So if he does have a good offseason, they take a step up, he'll get credit for it. But the problem is, they can take a step up and they're right back to where they were at the end of 2024. When in reality, 6 to 7 years into your rebuild, they should have been winning playoff series this year, right? They were 1 point out from making the playoffs in 24. They regress this year. Then if they make the playoffs next year, it's like, okay, cool. So you wasted 2024 or 25. So it's like 2 steps forward, 1 step backwards. That doesn't work long-term in sports. You got to just continuously grow. And that hasn't necessarily been the case
right.
for Steve Yzerman and the Wings. All right, let's hit the news.
The Mitt's Morning Catch.
All right, let's hop into it. The mid-morning catch today. We've got a few things to get to, starting off with what Ben was just talking about, obviously. Last night, Game 1, Stanley Cup Finals. The Oilers beat the Panthers in overtime, 4-3. Pretty fun, exciting game, Ben. I was watching most of it before the Tigers game started. Off to a pretty crazy start.
Dude, that was physical. That was a, physical brand of hockey on both sides of the puck. It felt like right off the bat. I mean, there wasn't any, drop the gloves fights in the first period, which is all I watched because I fell asleep. But there was just some brutal hits that you don't really see during Red Wings games. I'll say that. And I will say this, too. I hope the NBA Finals follow suit tonight. I hope it's not anytime somebody gets bumped, there's a whistle. I hope they let them play a little bit and bring back some physicality because after watching that game yesterday, I was kind of blown away by how physical the game was.
You are comparing the NHL to the NBA
well,
on a
physicality
standpoint.
I know, but even for an average hockey game, it felt like
spectrum there.
Yes, but even from an average hockey game, or at least a Wings game, last night's game felt like it was vamped up a level, and that's the same way it should be in the NBA comparatively to what it looks like in the regular season. But I have a feeling the whistle's going to be pretty strong tonight out in OKC.
I mean, I would assume so, yeah, especially with Shea on the mound, or Shea playing. Let's get to that. Obviously, Game 1 of the Finals tonight. OKC Pacers 8:30 in Oklahoma City. Thunder 9.5-point favorites in Game 1.
Yeah, we'll have more on the NBA Finals a little bit later on in the show. I'm excited to it. I'm excited to talk about it.
Let's skip to college football. Ryan Day yesterday said that the Big Ten deserves 4 automatic qualifier spots in the college football playoff. Not just the one that they currently get. How about quadruple it?
Yeah, them and the SEC are kind of just riding their own ship, riding their own path with this. They want 16 teams in with 4 automatic bids, from what I understand, for both conferences. And then more bids after that, potentially. It's only a matter of time before the NCAA is not involved in this whatsoever because the Big Ten and SEC run the game. It's ridiculous, but that's just the direction we're heading, so lean into it.
I get it, but saying you need 4 automatic qualifiers, I mean, you're going to get 4 teams in it. So what's the point of even proposing this?
Money. The whole sport's built around money.
What does that have to do with money? They're going to get 4 teams no matter what.
Yeah, but
why do they need to be automatically in?
to guarantee that you get because when you win these games and you get some of the revenue share for the media rights deal, it's a ton of money coming back to the conference and back to the schools. I don't agree with it. I can't believe we're even thinking about expanding it past 12 at this point.
Yeah.
It's like, it feels like every single year now people are just there's no way to satisfy everyone. I think I'm at the point where it's so far into semi-professional football that you may as well lean all the way into it. I'd like opinion to be taken out of the sport at this point. I don't like the rankings.
Yeah.
I don't like any of it anymore.
Agreed.
It's a different sport. Make it a different sport.
More college football news. Michigan side of things, other than Ohio State, they have offered 2027 safety Charles Woodson Jr. Maybe a little repeat here.
Charles Woodson Jr.?
Yeah.
Whose kid was it last year that got recruited by Michigan that ended up being an absolute nobody? Do you remember that? I'm drawing a blank on it now, but it was like the son of a former Michigan player. Who I know
Kirk Herbstreit's son is going to Michigan.
That's who I'm thinking about.
Okay.
Yeah, that's who I'm thinking about. Who's a zero star, by the way.
Yeah, but Herbstreit, obviously the big Ohio State guy, so pretty weird. Okay, moving on.
Wait. But you know that Ohio State fans don't really like Herbstreit anymore, right?
Right, but still, I mean, his kid going to Michigan is still kind of wild.
Carving his own path.
Maybe that's why they don't like him.
They don't like him for a lot of reasons, because it's like he's a former Ohio State guy, but when he does his job and like says anything bad about them, the Ohio State fans freak out on them. Like
it's his job.
I know, and I've heard stories that like he can't be seen around Columbus anymore because they're so nuts over there.
Do they want to be like Desmond Howard and just be the most biased,
I guess,
panelist ever?
Yeah, I like Desmond. I think he's entertaining until they start talking about Michigan on
until
College
he
Game
announces
Day.
his college football playoff bracket every year, and Michigan is in it every season.
Right.
Like last year. I mean, come on, man.
Hey, average quarterback play. I think Michigan would have been a playoff team last year.
Right, of course, yeah.
Dude, they had like five guys go in the first round? 4 guys go in the first round?
What, they go 7-5? I mean, you think
and they had with the worst quarterback play you've ever seen.
More games?
Yes.
Okay. Let's move on to the NBA. Adam Silver announces that next year's NBA All-Star Game will be U.S. versus the world. Similar to, obviously, what we saw in hockey this year. Not the same format, but U.S. versus the world All-Star Game. How do we feel about that?
I love it. There's a couple of different things on it, though. It's going to be a lot harder for an American to make the All-Star team if that's truly how they do it. Like, Cade all of a sudden has an uphill battle to making another All-Star game or All-Star team. But for the European guys like Sabonis, guys like Jamal Murray.
Sabonis is a lock. It's going to be like even worse guys.
Jamal Murray's finally going to get an All-Star appearance if this is the case. If it's like 15 guys for the world, 15 guys for...
Nikola Vucevic, 2026 NBA All-Star.
Right. Like, you're going to get... So from a historic standpoint, I guess that kind of hurts.
I dislike it because of that, yes.
Yeah, but if the game actually produces something watchable, then I think it's worth it. I don't know if it will.
Why do people care about the All-Star Game so much?
I care about the All-Star Game, dude.
It's one day out of an 82-game season.
If they can... the other thing Silver talked about yesterday was doing FIBA rules during that All-Star Game, which I think FIBA rules are it's way better anyway.
They are
it's
better, but why?
It's better basketball. The best form of basketball is not college. It is not the NBA. It is the Olympics. It is the FIBA World Cup.
I don't disagree.
The rules are better. The pace of play is better. The physicality is better. They're shorter games. They're not as commercial filled. They're not as controlled by complaining to the referees. It's the best brand of basketball. The All-Star Game does not need to be this 3-4 hour event that takes all night. You're doing it in the afternoon. Make it a 2 hour event like all the FIBA games. I think people will watch it, and I think that players will actually try.
The format, the rules, the teams, none of it matters because the only thing that matters is the effort that the players put in, and that's never going to change. It's a break for a reason. The players are never going to give the effort that the fans want.
I don't know. It worked in hockey.
Once again, we cannot compare the NHL and NBA from a effort, physicality, caring standpoint. They're complete opposites of the spectrum. Last thing, Adam Silver, one more quote. Talking about this small market NBA finals with Thunder Pacers, obviously people complain about the ratings. I know we're going to talk about it later.
How can people complain about the ratings before it's even happened yet?
Because not good to complain about the ratings, just complain about it not being the Lakers or whatever, you know. He said, if it was a Packers-Steelers Super Bowl, everyone would be celebrating. Saying it's similar with Indiana, Oklahoma City. I completely disagree with this. I mean, comparing Thunder Pacers to Packers Steelers, two like of the most prestigious franchises in the NFL.
It would have been a better example if he just said like the Bills, someone who's like Josh Allen, MVP, but a small market.
Right.
I think it's just different. Like, I just don't think the market matters in football as much. I don't think the location matters for where players are signing in free agency. I don't think the weather matters, how big of a city it is. Like, it just doesn't. If you've got the players, you've got the players. You'll never see in NFL, like, yeah, I signed here because of warm weather. Maybe like Tom Brady late in his career, but that's such a unique circumstance. Players go where the money is. So the market values and size doesn't matter as much in the NFL as it does the NBA. People will watch no matter what.
People have been complaining about there's not superstars in this finals. I want the LeBrons. Like, Shea literally won the MVP.
Yeah, we can talk about him as a superstar if we want to, but nobody wants to.
Right, exactly. All right, that's it for the news.
The problem is there's not a top 10 player of all time in the finals, which has been the case, or at least a top 20 player ever.
There's what, 2 top 10 players of all time in the NBA? Like,
okay, well, let's even expand it to top 20. Between Giannis and Jokic,
sure.
There's been a decade.
But even when it was Jokic in the finals, when it was Giannis in the finals, like, people are complaining because Milwaukee and Denver are small market. Who cares about all that?
People who don't like basketball, who are looking for reasons to complain and tell us why. It's, you know what's funny? It's the people who don't watch basketball that have the biggest opinions on why the NBA is bad, right?
Yes.
That's the part that makes no sense to me. Okay, we've got another Tigers injury that we have to monitor, and another injury in the farm system that the Tigers have to monitor. We'll get some texts and we'll get some comments going a little bit later when we come back. This is the Ben Bosscher Show right here on 100.9 The Mitt. But before we send it to a break, I have to tell you guys about Maple Hill Nursery. It's officially the summer months. Midland's go-to spot for all your gardening needs is Maple Hill Nursery. From vibrant colors and flowers and shrubs to trees and seasonal plants, they've got your garden covered. Expert advice from local growers who care about your success as much as they do theirs. Quality plants, quality soil, and the tools you need to make your yard bloom. Stop by Maple Hill Nursery to get inspired and grow something beautiful this season. Find them right here in Midland, your garden's new best friend. When we come back, an injury update for the Tigers, something to monitor right here on the Ben Bosscher Show.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
No Loons baseball last night, postponed due to the weather, so we're going to have a doubleheader starting tonight. First pitch at 6:05. The Loons are out in South Bend facing the South Bend Cubs. They fell in Game 1 on Tuesday, and with no Game 2 last night, they'll make up both here on Thursday. The Loons are now 27-25, third place in the Midwest League East Division, find themselves 9.5 games back from the 37-16 West Michigan Whitecaps. South Bend is currently in last place in the Midwest League West Division at 15-37, so a big week on the road for the Loons to continue to gain some traction in the standings. But once again, 2 7-inning games tonight, first one starting at 6:05. Wyatt Crowell expected to take the bump in Game 1 for the Loons, and then Game 2 will be followed up as soon as Game 1 concludes. It's doubleheader Loons baseball action tonight at 6:05, pregame with John Vicari at 5:50 on 100.9 The Mitt.
It is the Scholar Athlete of the Month, proudly presented by Fisher Companies here on Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt. This month's recipient is Kari Kiefer from Freeland High School. With a 3.97 GPA, Kari is a 3-sport athlete competing in cross country, track, and basketball. Kari is a leader on the floor and talked on what she thinks makes an effective leader.
I think to be a great leader, you have to be able to hold each other accountable, like being able to give constructive criticism, but also a positive with it. Anytime I kind of talk with my teammates, I try to give them a positive if I'm going to give them a negative too, just to kind of balance it out and keep that relationship strong.
Kari scored over 1,500 points in her 4 seasons at Freeland. She'll continue her basketball and academic career at Northwood University. To hear the full interview and nominate a local athlete for our scholarship program, visit 1009themitt.com.
The doctors at Midland Eye Care want you to know a comprehensive eye exam is the only way to protect and detect vision-related disease. It goes beyond improved vision from glasses or contact lenses. Many common eye diseases such as glaucoma, diabetic eye disease, and age-related macular degeneration often have no warning signs. A dilated eye exam is the only way to detect these diseases in their early stages. This message brought to you by Midland Eye Care, your vision source on Eastman Road in Midland, on Cedar and Gladwin, and now on East Washington in Freeland.
Celebrate Father's Day at Downtime Sunday, June 15th. It starts with the Play Ball Weekend Kids Clinic presented by Central Michigan University. Make sure they're pre-registered at loons.com. After the game, step on the field for a special Father's Day catch, a memory that will last a lifetime. There's something for the whole family this Father's Day. This isn't just baseball. This is the Great Lakes Loons, everyone's hometown team.
Can you go anywhere and find an endeavor in society where we've come to accept and tolerate an adult, and even kids, treating another adult the way we allow spectators, coaches, and players to treat a high school game official? Can you? No one has the right to abuse game officials. So before you blurt something out about that next close call, consider this. Without the officials, nobody wins. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
I'm a pretty great multitasker. I can wash dishes and do laundry. I can roller skate while walking my dog. I can even order lunch while doing my homework. But I can't use my phone while driving. A distracted driver is one of the leading causes of death in the United States. So when it comes to driving, please, don't be a multitasker.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
All right, a few things going on. We'll get to the Mitt messages. We'll get to some comments on the YouTube chat. We got James chiming in. What's your prediction for the NCAA ruling coming out tomorrow or on the 7th? Ooh, that might have to be something we tackle tomorrow because it wasn't in our rundown for today. But there should be a decision on what happens with Sharon Moore here coming up in the next 48 hours.
Yes.
As for my prediction, I have no idea, man. If anyone thinks they have any idea what's going to happen, liar. It's the NCAA.
Yeah, there's no point in predicting it.
The NCAA has no rhyme or reason for what kind of punishments they hand out or what kind of rulings they have. Me predicting it is useless.
Yes.
But I am interested to see what happens because I think them saying, well, you know what, we're going to pick game 3 and game 4, Central Michigan, and our game against Nebraska instead of weeks 1 and 2 because we want to make sure Sharon Moore goes back to Oklahoma, his alma mater. I honestly hope that backfires in their face. That's ridiculous.
Of course I hope it backfires in their face. Who lasts longer as coach, Sharon Moore or Jonathan Smith?
They're not going to fire Sharon Moore unless...
Of course.
Yeah. I don't think there's any way they banish Sharon Moore the way they did with Harbaugh, right? That seems very unlikely.
Saying no way is risky.
I didn't say impossible. That just feels unlikely. And with Smith, it's 7 wins is how he stays safe this year? 8 wins is auto safe. 7 wins is you're probably safe. Anything below that, you're gone.
I don't know if there is an auto safe is high. I think it's higher than 8.
If he wins 8 games, he's not getting fired. Come on.
Yeah, but what if the 4 losses are against their 4 good teams that they play?
I still don't think you fire someone if they get 8 wins in their second season.
I don't think so either, but with new things going on there, clearly they want to make change, and it's new people, not the same hires. So,
to answer your question, I would say Jonathan Smith is more likely to be not the Michigan State coach a year from now. But who knows? 2 days from now, Sharon Moore might be the Michigan coach.
Yeah, who knows? It's weird.
I don't think that's super likely, but you never know what's going on. Looking at the YouTube chat, we've got people fighting in there. That's always a good sign. If we have other people fighting each other in the chat.
Tigers?
No. Our good friend Dwayne from Bay City is infiltrating the Mitt messages and the YouTube chat. I don't have the Facebook chat going right now, but he's probably in there too, man.
Yeah, we can
go find something to do, man. Go find something to do. Okay. We've got one more thing going on in the chat too. Eli wants to know our takes on Tristan Colin, the Lions signing the backup guard. In
hot take I got about that.
But what do you got? I don't have anything.
I'm joking.
Probably it feels like what's his face? Colby Sorsdale unlikely to make the team, which is disappointing. Late round pick a couple years ago. If they're bringing in backups, probably not a good sign for him. That'd be my take on that, Eli. Thanks for asking. All right, let's move on. There's an injury that happened not in yesterday's Tigers game, but before the game. Kerry Carpenter scratched from the lineup with a hamstring injury, ends up pinch hitting later on in the game. Is this something to worry about as Tigers fans? Maybe. I don't have a definitive answer, but I don't like the fact that he pinched hit. A hamstring injury is something that's very easily re-injured. And remember what happened last year in the postseason, dealt with it, still played through it, ended up doing the Kerry Bond stuff. So, yes, he's shown he can play through the hamstring injury, but again, it's early June. If he needs to take a week off, I'm totally fine with it. I don't want him playing today, right? I want this team as healthy as possible in October. They have a cushion in the AL Central right now. They're playing the White Sox. Ideally, he's there for this weekend series against the Cubs with an expected sellout crowd every day this weekend. Two of the top markets in baseball, two of the best teams in baseball. But at the same time, if he needs to rest up and get this hamstring ready to go, then I don't think there's any need to play him right now. And I get it. He's probably just going to DH this weekend. I don't want him in the outfield even when he is healthy. But running the bases, the last thing you want is for him to make this injury worse and be out for a longer period of time because of it. So whatever they got to do to get this hamstring fully healed, I'm all on board for it. I don't think there's any point in rushing this guy back. I don't want to see him at all today.
See, I'm actually cool that he pinch hit last night because that just shows that it's maybe not as serious as we think, and it's not a big deal because we know how serious A.J. Hinch and the rest of this Tigers organization have taken injuries, right? I mean, we see it with several guys this season already. Parker Meadows played it out quite some time. Same with Matt Vierling. So I see it as a positive that Kerry Carpenter pinch hit last night. They asked him, reporters, like, are they going to get tests done on Kerry Carp? And he immediately was like, he shut it all down. No. Like, he's going to pinch hit tonight. I'm not trying to say this is anything crazy. So it's definitely something to monitor. I don't disagree with you saying that maybe he should get today off, because it has been a looming soreness going on with Kerry Carp. And they have the flexibility to give him a day or two off with Parker Meadows and Paris being back.
The other thing that happened last night was one of their top prospects, Hao Yu Lee, got drilled in the face. Like, pretty scary sight if you saw the video. It's all over social media if you want to go find it. Yeah, just gets a laser right to the face. And this is 24 hours after Bryce Rayner dives back into first place and hurts his shoulder. What is going on right now? The farm system's getting destroyed by injuries.
Yeah, it's scary because Hao Yu Lee, I think, is probably one of the top names to get traded, I would think, in the Tigers organization, just because he's already hit the AAA level, probably MLB ready, just not currently on this team. So I think he'd be an attractive trade piece for other organizations. So hopefully he's all good. But yeah, hit in the face it's a tough one to recover from quickly, obviously.
He was the guy that I said before the season, like, don't be surprised if by October that's the third baseman for the Tigers.
I didn't hate that take. I mean, he hasn't gotten off to the start that you'd like for that to come to fruition. And, we've seen some other guys play third base for the Tigers, but I still don't hate it, right? He's the right-handed bat at third that they don't have, especially with the Ibanez being poor and Vierling being hurt.
The problem is McKinstry's just playing too good right now to justify.
Yeah, they just don't have a
move.
spot for him.
Yeah.
They don't have a spot nearly for him.
Yes, that is correct. Okay. We've got some NBA stuff to get to. I know NBA, and not everybody loves it, but hey, today's the first day of the finals, and I want to twist this in a way regarding the ratings, but also kind of looking at both teams. There's one thing that the Pacers do really well that I think might give them a fighting chance in this series, and then of course the MLB. Major League Baseball All-Star voting opened up yesterday. I wanted to know how many Tigers everyone put in their initial ballot. So all of that coming up. But before that, Aaron and Garcia, Farm Bureau Insurance, I got to tell you, they understand not everyone's insurance needs are the same. Mine is different than Kyle's. Kyle's different than Dwayne from Bay Cities. They want to work personally with you to create something best suited for your needs, whether it's life, home, auto, physical insurance. It's available with Farm Bureau Insurance. Aaron and Garcia. The team's got over 100 years of combined experience. You got to need experience going into an NBA Finals. Who's got more experience? I'll tell you next. They know exactly how to put you in the best position. The experience matters, and that's why Arid and Garcia Farm Bureau Insurance is the way to go. More on the Ben Bosscher Show coming up here on 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
A beautiful yard increases both the value of your home and the quality of your life. Commercially, landscaping creates a positive impression of your professionalism and commitment to community, customers, and employees. Cervinsky Sod has been creating and maintaining outdoor spaces for 56 years. Whether your project is residential or commercial, the team at Cervinsky Sod Services will work with you to build and meet budgets and finish the job with top quality and in a timely manner. To get a quote, call 989-835-4810 or visit CervinskySodService.com.
At Arid & Garcia Insurance Group, they understand not everyone's insurance needs are the same. That's why they're dedicated to working with our clients to provide an insurance plan that's specific to you.
Whether you need life, home, auto, business, and farm, with their team's extensive knowledge and over 100 years combined experience, you can guarantee they work hard to put you in the best insurance position.
The experience matters. Arid & Garcia Insurance Group. Farm Bureau Insurance.
Another episode takes over Dow Diamond. Star Wars Night with the Great Lakes Loons returns Saturday, June 14th. Immerse yourself in the echoes of the Empire saga throughout the game, culminating with an epic fireworks loontacular presented by Farm Bureau Insurance. Tickets are selling fast. Visit loons.com before they're gone.
Thank the maker.
This isn't just baseball. This is the Great Lakes Loons, everyone's hometown team. Calling all royalty. Join the Great Lakes Loons for Princess Night, presented by High Country Jumpers. Saturday, June 21st. The Loons will take the field in magical Moana-inspired jerseys. Stick around after the game for a dazzling fireworks loontacular, presented by Farm Bureau Insurance. It's a night fit for the whole family. Tickets are selling fast. Visit loons.com before they're gone. This is the Great Lakes Loons, everyone's hometown team. You want sports takes? You want local voices that own the mic? Yeah. We've got them on Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt. It kicks off at 6 a.m. with Anthony Bellino on Spin on Sports.
Rise and shine.
From 9 to noon, don't miss Michigan's newest sports show, The Ben Bosscher Show.
Hey, remember that.
At noon, you get America's smartest sports takes, The Herd with Colin Cowherd.
I want Shador to play.
And at 3, the one and only Bill Simonson and The Huge Show. This is where real fans stay locked in. 100.9 The Mitt.
I'm Ben Bosscher, and here's what I think. I think replay should be taken out of basketball entirely. I think 2 super conferences would fix college football. I think the best football, basketball, and baseball players of all time are currently playing. I think the day the Lions win the Super Bowl is going to be the greatest day of my life. I think Monty Williams sabotaged the Pistons on purpose, and you can't convince me otherwise. I think Jim Harbaugh is one of the best coaches of all time, but most definitely cheated, got caught, and ran away. And I think you should tune into the Ben Bosscher Show, fueled by Forward Energy, weekdays 9 to noon on 100.9 The Mitt if you agree with anything I just said.
We're in your town, your school, your huddle. 100.9 The Mitt is here for sports fans in the Great Lakes Bay region. From the hardwoods of Saginaw to Midland's Friday Night Lights. From the streets of Bay City to Freeland, Frankenmuth, and Hemlock. We roll through Beaverton, Auburn, Pinconning, Essexville, and Shepherd. All the way to Gladwin, Birch Run, Coleman, and Bridgeport. This is your sports station. High school, college, NFL, the Loons. It's all right here. 100.9 The Mitt, Mid-Michigan sports leader. Local sports don't stop when the game ends, and neither do we. 100.9 The Mitt is your digital home for the latest news across the state of Michigan. From high school to college and the pros, it's all on our socials. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Just search 100.9 The Mitt and join the squad. Stay locked in on the latest stats and stories with exclusive video takes from local talent. Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt.
They tell us we're more connected these days. We have cell phones, email, text messaging, yet we've never felt more disconnected from the people we care about the most. We need a place that's all about bringing us together. Say hello to the Great Lakes Bay region, where towns like Saginaw, Midland, Bay City, Birch Run, Chesaning, and Frankenmuth help us leave behind the overscheduled world we live in and visit a place we haven't seen in a while. One where the people make us feel right at home. And we remember just how bright our kids' eyes get peeking through a riverboat railing, just to catch a glimpse of the wildlife. So let's go fishing, bird watching. Let's blow the suds off a local tap, take a tall ship dinner cruise at sunset, or stop by a festival just because the name made us smile. Right here in the Great Lakes Bay region, where reconnecting with what really matters is pure Michigan. Your trip begins at michigan.org.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
All right, welcome back into the Ben Bosscher Show. Ben Bosscher here with you, as always, live on 100.9 The Mitt, YouTube, Facebook. Kyle Sandel behind the glass today. Kyle, we got a text that said, you sound like a penguin. What are your thoughts on that? I don't know what a penguin sounds like.
I've watched the Penguins of Madagascar. It's a pretty good show as a kid. Those guys sound pretty sick. They're pretty awesome. So if that's what he's referring to, it's the only penguin I've ever heard speak.
That's a good take. That's a good pull.
You're a Kowalski kind of guy. You know, you got the height.
I don't know what that means.
He's one of the Penguins.
I figured. Good personality? Good-looking penguin?
He's like the tall nerd.
Oh. Okay. I guess I'll take that. All right. Before we get back to Tigers All-Star voting, I wanted to get some initial thoughts on the NBA Finals that are starting tonight. There's, to me, obviously, with OKC being minus 750 favorites, like this is one of the most lopsided finals, at least going into it from a betting standpoint in quite some time. But to me, there's one thing that the Pacers do really well that could give them an edge here. And like they have to do this well through 4 games, through 7 games to even have a chance at winning. But the thing that the Pacers do better than anybody is push the pace, and they don't turn the ball over. And the thing that OKC has done so well in these playoffs is create 10-0 runs, 12-0 runs, or these long stretches where they force a team to have 4, 5, 6 turnovers over the course of a quarter, 3 steals on back-to-back-to-back possessions. That kind of stuff just doesn't happen against the Pacers, and that's obviously credit to Tyrese Halliburton and the way he runs the offense. I've said a few times here, I think it's so much better than watching a Jalen Brunson where it's, hey, dribble, get out of the way. I'm going to try to score. Let's do a pick and roll. Halliburton's initiating an offense that feels old school, that feels like Steve Nash. He doesn't necessarily want to take a ton of dribbles. He wants to push the ball ahead. If you're cutting, he'll find you. He's not going to sit there and be a ball stopper. And he does it all without turning the ball over. It's not Curry in a way where it's like he's moving around so much without the ball, but it isn't Curry-esque where it's get the ball out of my hands and let's just keep the offense moving and I'll benefit from it in the long run. If the Pacers cannot turn the ball over and take that element away from Oklahoma City, that's how I think they stay in this series and in the game tonight.
See, it's immovable force meeting immovable force tonight, because saying if Indiana can't turn the ball over against a historic Oklahoma City defense is going to be really tricky. And that's how we saw OKC in the games when they would play it tight for a while. They just go on these, they're due for a 10-0 run at any given moment because of the amount of turnovers that they can force. And they get out in the break because they play so quick as well. So
yeah, 10-0 run built on 5 layups.
Yeah, exactly. All built on forcing a steal. I mean, we saw throughout this playoffs, any guard that has gone up against OKC has just massively struggled. Now, they haven't played a guard like Halliburton yet. So, especially one like him that doesn't turn the ball over and is so efficient offensively. So it's really going to be interesting. Who comes out on top in a battle of doesn't turn the ball over, forces a ton of turnovers. I still go OKC just because of the amount of guys they can throw at Halliburton. I mean, they have 4 or 5 different guys that you really feel confident guarding him. So it's going to be tricky. Indiana needs other guys to step up, but Halliburton needs to continue to do what he's been doing.
But the thing I think favors the Pacers is, to your point, which was a good point, the Oklahoma City Thunder have made guards look terrible so far in these playoffs. They shoot horribly. Opponents are shooting 42% versus the Thunder in these playoffs. Like you said, historic defense. But Halliburton's not a guy who's looking to score first. I mean, sometimes he's a little bit more aggressive, but I think he puts the team above everything, which I don't think the Thunder have seen a team like that yet this year in the playoffs other than the Nuggets. And that is the only team that has looked like they've had a real fighting chance against the Thunder, obviously pushing them to 7 games, and then the Thunder come out on top because I think they were the better basketball team. But that is the recipe for for the Pacers to win. And, you know, I'm not going to pick the Pacers to win, but I will say, like, Game 1 I feel like is going to be closer than the series, you know? Game 1 is going to be an adjustment period for Oklahoma City to where it's like...
The Ben Bosscher
Yeah.
Show,
All
powered
right.
by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
Hi, this is Jim Mahoney with Link Technologies. As a business owner, you might be struggling with today's technological advancements in the IT arena and how they could benefit your growing business. Let Link Technologies' talented staff work with you to develop a technology plan custom to your specific needs. We bring 27 years of experience helping businesses and nonprofit organizations just like yours achieve their technology goals. Contact us today and see how the right balance between cloud and on-premise resources can best work for you.
At First Class Epoxy Floor and Counter, floors don't just get coated, they get a makeover. Epoxy's so tough, it shrugs off spills, stains, and even your wildest dance moves. Garages, workshops, anywhere you want a floor that's smooth, shiny, and just a little bit sassy, they handle it all with style. No more boring floors. Get ready to impress everyone who walks through the door. Slide into durability and flair. First Class Epoxy Floor and Counter, where your floors get the VIP treatment they didn't know they needed.
We can't see tomorrow, but we can hear it. And it sounds like peace of mind, knowing our lakes will be better protected by placing Line 5 in the Great Lakes Tunnel. And that we've added extra safety measures while we work to build it, because we're committed to keeping the Great Lakes safe for generations to come. Tomorrow is on. Visit enbridge.com/line5 for more information. Enbridge. Life takes energy.
Sneakers laced and smiles ready. That's the vibe at the Greater Midland Dow Run Walk on June 7th.
Whether you're racing like a gazelle or strolling like it's a Sunday walk, this event brings fresh air, good vibes, and plenty of high fives.
Bring your friends, bring your family, and don't forget your best dance moves for the finish line party.
Sign up today at greatermidland.org. Run, walk, or show up just for the snacks. Just make sure you're there this Saturday.
Celebrate Father's Day at Dow Diamond Sunday, June 15th. It starts with the Play Ball Weekend Kids Clinic presented by Central Michigan University. Make sure they're pre-registered at loons.com. After the game, step on the field for a special Father's Day catch, a memory that will last a lifetime. There's something for the whole family this Father's Day. This isn't just baseball. This is the Great Lakes Loons, everyone's hometown team.
Hey, I'm Ben Bosscher.
And I'm Kyle Sandel.
And the two of us are live every weekday on 100.9 The Mitt at 9 a.m. until noon, giving you opinions on the teams that you care about the most.
The Lions, Tigers, Red Wings, Pistons, those teams.
And a whole lot more. Whether we're breaking down a game from the night before, debating the biggest news from the day, or doing a draft or spread picks, we're always having fun. I mean, come on, it's our job to talk about sports. How could we not be having fun?
So if the big games aren't enough for you, if you're a real diehard fan, this show is going to be perfect for you. You can count on us to be your morning sports outlet every day.
The Ben Bosscher Show with Ben Bosscher and Kyle Sandel on 100.9 The Mitt.
From the Blazy Electric Studios, this is Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt, WLUN, Pinconning Bay City, Saginaw, Midland.
Welcome back into the Ben Bosscher Show. Hour number 2. Let's get things started. All-Star voting opened up yesterday for Major League Baseball. I wanted to know, I mean, I think the first initial reaction of a fan is let's go vote for everybody on our team, put them in the All-Star game. I didn't go that route. I did fill out a ballot yesterday, and I wanted to know how many Tigers I put in it. And I think I go the opposite way where I almost don't want to come off as the homer and put too many Tigers in it. So I only put 2 Tigers in my initial ballot. Kyle, how many did you put in yours?
2. Wow.
Yes. With the notion, Scooble and Vest, we're not voting on pitchers yet. Nobody's allowed to vote on pitchers yet.
Right, yes, good point. I took a different route. I did a homer one where, all 9 is just all Tigers. But then the real one, obviously, I went with 4. And I don't say that maybe 4 deserve it, but it's just some guys that I think won't get the votes that I think are having all-star seasons that earn the nod. So that's what I went with.
My 2 were Riley Green, who is the 4th highest average amongst outfielders in the AL at 283, the 3rd highest OPS, tied for the 3rd most home runs. Defensively, the numbers actually don't favor Riley Green at all. He's taken a pretty substantial step back defensively this season. He's not a below average defender, but all the advanced numbers point to he's not one of those all-star level defenders out there in left field or in center field anymore. Yeah, he makes the diving catch once in a while, and that stuff's great, but he doesn't feel as fast out there anymore, but I think the bat makes up for it in a way where he's been so consistent throughout the year other than that, 1 for 32 stretch that he had early on in April.
Yeah.
He's been on fire here in May. He's got the pedigree to where he was an all-star last year, so I feel like he has to lose out on his spot or someone has to take it from him, and I don't think anyone has taken it from him by a wide margin this season. So for that reason, I think Riley Green deserves to be back in the all-star game. Is that one of the guys you had?
Yeah, for sure. I think Riley Green is like one of the couple locks. I personally think there's 2 Tigers locks. You could argue 3, but you only have 2 guys, so I won't say 3. Riley Green is for sure one of them.
Well, Scuba would be the other one, right?
No, I'm saying in this lineup.
Oh, offensively. Okay, then the other person, let's see if we had the same person, is actually, shockingly, Dylan Dingler.
Really?
You didn't have Dylan Dingler?
Over Cal Raleigh? Leader in homers in the MLB?
Let me convince you. Dylan Dingler
I put him on my ballot, but like saying he's the second guy over a couple of these others is crazy.
Let me convince you. Dylan Dingler has the highest WAR on the team on Fangraphs of all American League catchers. He's second in catching frame runs. So he's got the second highest frame rate of anybody in Major League Baseball. Second hardest thrower.
Ben.
From behind the plate.
Second hardest thrower.
Yeah, has the second hardest throw from behind the dish.
Let's look at it. Cal Raleigh's on pace to break the American League home run record, beating Aaron Judge's from 2 seasons ago.
It's not going to happen.
23 home runs. He's hitting over 1,000 OPS. I love Dingler. I think Dingler's probably been the second best guy in the American League behind the plate with his bat, specifically too. But 23 homers and 1,000 OPS. Switch hitting catcher?
I mean, impressive. No doubt about it. But I needed to have another Tiger in here, and I think Dingler's been...
Dingler's not the guy.
When you look at the rest, when you look at the rest, I mean, you can't knock Dylan Dingler's number. 296 and a 795 OPS. It's like, that's legit stuff.
I'm not knocking him. But we're talking about 200-point difference in OPS.
Better defensively, I'm just saying.
The other lock is Gleyber Torres at second base. Gleyber's a lock. Just with what he's done for this lineup this season, nearly an 800 OPS, hitting 270. You look at it across the other second baseman in Major League Baseball, there's some solid ones. Willie Castro's having a decent season for the Twins, which is kind of funny. But like Altuve's been fine. Like he has a worse OPS than Torres does. Obviously, Torres isn't like phenomenal defensively, but you look at the other second baseman across the American League, there isn't many other guys that are having much crazier seasons than Torres. So I think he's the other lock for the Tigers.
The raw numbers don't pop off the screen for Gleyber Torres. That's the problem. I think the Tigers fans appreciate him more than...
But they don't for any other second baseman either.
Major League Baseball. No, that's correct. Other than the Willie Castro numbers, some of those are pretty good.
Right.
Somehow Jazz Chisholm will probably end up taking this spot, even though he's hitting below the Mendoza line right now, but the Yankees fans will just somehow vote him in, or Jackson Holiday just because of the name recognition.
Also been injured.
Yes. I don't know if Gleyber's going to make it, because I feel like most fans across the league, and whether we're debating like who deserves a spot and who's going to get a spot is completely different, but most fans across the league just kind of like, I don't think they vibe with Gleyber Torres, you know? He's got a bad reputation to him. No, but you know what I mean? Like, I feel like he has a negative reputation. Just the way things ended in New York. And now it's like he's more of a situational guy, someone that you totally trust in that 2-spotter when guys are in scoring position. It feels like he always comes through for the Tigers. But the raw numbers don't necessarily jump off the screen. But to your point, nobody really in the American League has numbers that pop off the screen for second baseman. So I don't know if he's considered a lock, but I like the way you're thinking on that.
I would think he's more of a lock than Dylan Dingler.
Perhaps. Did you have Torkelson? Because that was the one I was debating.
I did have Torkelson, yeah. And for the people watching on YouTube and Facebook, the little Tigers All-Star graphic we made was a bit of a hint for the three guys I had, Torque, Green, and Torres. Yeah, I had Torkelson. This one's a little bit of a debate, though. There's some pretty good first basemen in the American League, like JV's boy, Paul Goldschmidt's having a good year. Obviously, Vladdy is always going to get the fan vote, and he's having a solid season. But like 14 homers for Torkelson, it leads all first basemen in the American League.
Yep.
I really do think he has a good chance to be the first baseman there. Jonathan Aranda's having a really good year for the Rays.
I was going to say, that's who I ended up voting for.
Yeah.
922 OPS, 326 average.
Twice as many home runs for Torque.
Yeah, way less at-bats for Aranda, too, but a month from now, that probably won't matter. And he still has 7 home runs. Like, it's not like doesn't have any power in it.
Yeah.
So I do think Torkelson's the most likely of the guys I didn't name to kind of jump in and take one of those spots. But I only had 2 Tigers. You've probably convinced me that Torkelson should have the spot instead of Dingler if I'm only doing 2 Tigers. But yeah, it's fascinating now going from last year having 2 Tigers in just Green and Torkelson, or I'm sorry, Green and Skubal, to now you're at a point where, hey, maybe there's 3, 4, 5 Tigers deserving a spot, especially considering they have the best record in the league. Pitching voting's not out, so Skubal and Vest, I think, both have solid chances of, obviously Skubal, but Vest has another good chance of making the All-Star game as well.
I think Casey Mize has a chance. It's hard to get 2 starters on one team, but he has a chance.
He could be one of the 5 pitchers in Major League Baseball after tonight with 7 wins. So when you're just when you're just throwing that in and you look at the ZRA, he stacks up pretty well against some of the other guys. The problem is the name recognition, I think, just matters when it comes to the All-Star voting. I forget how they do the pitchers. I
believe the pitchers are voted on by managers or players. One of the two. But they're decided not by the fans.
All of the pitchers or just the starter?
Well, just the starters, and then mainly the relievers are all just like the teams that suck, that don't have an all-star. They just give it to a random guy out of their bullpen. AKA, remember when Gregory Soto, back-to-back all-star for the Tigers.
I'm not a big fan of the everybody gets an all-star bid rule. Some teams just don't deserve to have an all-star. The White Sox don't deserve to have an all-star. No. The Rockies don't deserve to have an all-star. Why do they force every team to throw someone in?
I do like it because it gives every team's fan base like a reason to watch the All-Star game.
Some teams' fan bases don't deserve a reason to watch the All-Star game, other than to see other teams' stars.
You're going at the fans.
See good baseball.
You're going at the Rockies fans, not even the team.
Yeah, they don't want to watch the All-Star game reminding themselves of their team. No, but they shouldn't want to watch the All-Star game wanting to see their guys. This is where you see real stars.
That's a good point.
I don't know. I've never been a big fan of that rule. Like, imagine if the NBA did this. Obviously, there's way less roster spots.
I think just because of the spots too. Yeah, it's easy for them to do it that way.
But if there's a team that deserves that many guys, like the Dodgers, which they probably will get the votes anyway, I guess I just don't understand why we got to dedicate a couple of spots to the White Sox and the Athletics.
I get it from the stance of like
from
a historical standpoint. When you're looking at in the past, like, oh, this guy was a 2-time All-Star and he just didn't have that good of numbers. Like, that's like Gregory Soto being a 2-time All-Star all time is kind of crazy.
I would rather them bring back the Legends thing when Miggy and Pujols just got phony All-Star nods in their last year.
They legit just added roster spots for that. Like, because Soto was still an All-Star that season.
I'd rather them just do that than have roster spots dedicated to players that aren't deserving of roster spots. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there just isn't many like legends hanging out like that at the end of their career.
No. I guess there's not really any like end of career.
McCutcheon is still hanging around with the Pirates. He would probably be a good candidate for the National League.
In the American League, I always think Salvador Perez is like 45, but he's actually not that old.
He is pretty old though. Like, he's towards the end of his career. That's a good one. Just from
he's not as old as you think. He's let's see. He's only 35. Like, that's old for a catcher, but he's not ancient.
You could probably just give it to, like Verlander still exists, Scherzer exists, but the pitchers obviously are tough.
Yeah, because they're
so
not
no love
necessarily
for Kerry Carpenter in the outfield, huh?
Not enough at bats. He needs to play more. I think that's kind of where I stand on that. And there's just a lot of really good outfielders. Obviously, Aaron Judge is going to get a spot. The 3 guys I voted for were Green, Judge, and Stephen Kwan. Stephen Kwan just continues to be a menace out in the outfield and hits for average, better than most players in the league. So
outfield is tough, man. There's just too many good outfielders.
Yeah, especially in the American League. All right, 989-837-6125. We still have to do an around the league. I still want to do something on the ratings that are coming up. And then, of course, Cole Keith moving to third base, the story of the day, because I think that completely maximizes what this Tigers roster is capable of. So stick with us here. We'll be back here. Ben Bosscher Show, live all the way to noon today on 100.9 The Mitt, live on YouTube, live on Facebook.
The Mitt.
At Tommy's Express, you can get your car clean, shiny and dry in just minutes. Our state-of-the-art eco-friendly wash delivers a spotless finish every time. With the Tommy Club app, enjoy unlimited washes or paper wash. Skip the line with license plate recognition and manage everything right from your phone. Fast, clean, and simple. Visit Tommy's Express today and see the difference. Text Clean Car to 86697 for a free works wash.
Offer valid for new guests only. By participating, you consent to receive promotional information text from Tommy's Express. Message and data rates may apply. Message frequency varies. Transform your outdoor space with Maple Hill Nursery. Whether you're a gardening enthusiast or just looking to relax in style, they have everything you need. From premium polywood furniture that never needs painting to top quality plants and trees, Maple Hill Nursery has it all. Plus, they offer free setup and delivery on in-stock barbecue grills. Visit them today just north of Midland Mall or check out their website for pro tips and expert advice. Maple Hill Nursery, making your yard the place to be.
Since 2007, the Michigan Baseball Foundation has invested over $1.8 million into our communities, supporting over 350 projects across 14 Michigan counties. From restoring Alma Little League fields to creating nature-based classrooms at the Chippewa Nature Center and enhancing accessibility at the middle of the Mitt Miracle Field, MBF is making a real difference. Every ticket to a Great Lakes Loons game helps fund these initiatives. Join us in building a stronger, more vibrant community. Learn more at MichiganBaseballFoundation.org.
Sneakers laced and smiles ready. That's the vibe at the Greater Midland Dow Run Walk on June 7th.
Whether you're racing like a gazelle or strolling like it's a Sunday walk, this event brings fresh air, good vibes, and plenty of high fives.
Bring your friends, bring your family, and don't forget your best dance moves for the finish line party.
Sign up today at greatermidland.org. Run, walk, or show up just for the snacks. Just make sure you're there this Saturday.
Hey, did you guys catch anything yet?
Not a thing.
Bummer, neither have we. I'm actually just about to head into town. I'm going to go into Higher Standards Automotive. They got this award-winning service department with amazing technicians and this large parts department in case I want to fix it myself. They got the part there.
Whatever.
No, I'm serious, man. It's out there.
Yeah, just like when you tried to convince me Bigfoot was real.
Ray?
Bigfoot's behind me, isn't he?
Yeah, we got it. Run! Get out! Stop into Higher Standards Automotive, North Eastman Road in Midland, right past the mall.
Step right up to Lucky Hot Dog Night with the Great Lakes Loons, Thursday, June 19th. Feeling lucky? Golden tickets will be hidden in the wrappers of our hot dogs throughout the game. It's Thirsty Thursday, presented by J.P. O'Sullivan Distributing, with half-off beer all night. And we'll have a post-game fireworks loontacular presented by Farm Bureau Insurance. This isn't just baseball. This is the Great Lakes Loons, everyone's hometown team.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
All right, welcome back into the Ben Bosscher Show. We're live on YouTube, live on Facebook. Go ahead and subscribe there. You guys can also text in at 989-837-6125. Appreciate everyone chiming in here. It is day number 4 of the Ben Bosscher Show. Still feeling fresh, still feeling confident. Let's do some Around the League.
It's time to zoom out and go Around the League.
All right, we got a fun one for you today, Ben.
Okay.
We've had some pretty fun around the leagues with you doing some guessing. Today you are going to be guessing, but it's going to be with NFL OTAs. We had a couple funny reports yesterday, like T. Higgins saying, I plan on being healthy this season.
It's good stuff.
So I'm going to read you some NFL OTA headlines. You got to tell me, is that real or is that fake?
Fact or cap?
Yes, fact or cap. Yes. You ready?
I am ready. There are some
All right, let's
crazy
do it.
headlines that just the craziest stuff gets written about at OTA. So I have a feeling this is going to be pretty difficult. We'll see how I do.
I feel like I've dialed up some good fake ones, but I hope they're not too fake where it's like obvious. Let's get this started.
Find out.
All right, first up. Despite 3 straight seasons with concussion injuries and missing 12 games due to a third concussion last season, Bears safety Jaquan Brisker tells reporters that he plans on playing the exact same way in 2025.
That feels too specific. I'm going to say that is fact. He did say that.
It is fact, yes.
One for
Brisker
one.
did say that yesterday. Missed 12 games last year with 3 concussions, 3 years, but it's going to keep things going.
Still being aggressive, still playing downhill.
All right, let's move on.
I would think
Oh,
it'd be
sorry.
more concerning if a safety was like, no, I'm going to change the way I play.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, you either got to continue playing the way that you're playing or make a business decision and not play football anymore. It's
Which
different
maybe
for a
that's gonna come
quarterback.
after 2025. Yeah, quarterback is different.
Like, there's no reason
But-
Tua needs to be running anymore. He never was a good runner in the first place, but with safety, it's
True.
like, well, you can't avoid that.
All right, speaking of the Dolphins, why don't we skip over to them? Tyreek Hill, who has yet to complete any catching or blocking drills at OTAs this year, told reporters he's moved past his trade demands from the end of last season, and he's hoping that he can prove himself and prove to his teammates that he's still one of them ones who's chasing 2,000 receiving yards.
Wait, so if he's not doing catching or blocking drills, what is he doing? Is he
He's
doing
there.
nothing? He's just hanging?
It says he's been completing other workouts.
Okay. I guess I just don't know if he's hung up on being traded or not. I feel like that's quieted down. I'll say that's cap. I don't think he actually said anything like that.
No, that's real.
He
Tyreek
did.
Hill did say he's moved past his trade demands, and he's still trying to get 2,000 receiving yards.
I don't think that's going to
In
happen.
the season. I don't think so either.
I don't think that's going to happen.
But, all right, 1 for 1 on fact or cap. Here we go. Next up. Browns coach Kevin Stefanski told reporters he is confident in all the quarterbacks currently in the quarterback room and wouldn't be shocked if all of them see playing time by their Week 9 bye.
Oh, no way. There's no way an NFL coach can say that every single person of their 5 quarterbacks can play by Week 9. That's cap.
Yeah, that's definitely cap. I probably should have just ended it at he's confident in all the quarterbacks in the room.
I would have believed that, but once you said all of them were playing by Week 9, you may as well sign yourself up to be fired.
Right, exactly. Just a crazy quarterback room there.
Do you
the
have
real
a-
report is that Flacco and Pickett are both competing for first team reps right now. Pretty obvious.
I was just going to ask. I don't think it is obvious. Flacco and Pickett, I guess those are the 2 most experienced guys, but which rookie's more likely to see snaps this year?
I think Shador. I understand that like he was taken later, but man, Dylan Gabriel is really tiny.
Very small.
Yeah.
One of those guys, it feels like, is not going to make the team of the 4 guys.
Okay,
you just
over
named.
under 2.5 Browns quarterbacks starting a game this year.
Watson's out for the year, confirmed.
I think so.
Over.
Yeah. I don't think all 4 quite see run. But
No. But
yeah.
all it takes is a few bad weeks and the fans will be clamoring for somebody else.
Exactly. All right, 2 for 3. Let's move on. Eagles head coach Nick Sirianni responded to the tush-push rule being continued for the first time this week, saying that the Eagles will continue to push it to the limit until someone finds a way to stop it.
Fact.
That's cap. He did not say that. Push it to the limit. I was trying to make a little bit of a pun there.
That sounds like something Sirianni would say, though.
It
Just
does.
Being a doofus.
I thought that would be one that fooled you just because it's Sirianni. You really don't know what he's ever going to say.
Was this taken from an actual headline, or is this just completely
No, I
made
just
up?
totally made this one up.
All right. Well, that was a good one.
Thank you. Okay, moving on. Let's move to, we got 2 Diggs reports. Let's start with Stephon. Patriots wide receiver Stephon Diggs seems to be recovering quickly from last year's ACL injury and spoke on the viral video of him last weekend on the boat in Miami, saying his off-the-field activities may be the reason behind his quick recovery.
What? This can't be true. Please tell me it's not true.
Yeah, this is not true. Yeah, this is not true at
I was
all.
going to say, please tell me that's not true. He did respond to those videos, right?
Yeah, and he basically just said, like, it's whatever, I'm fully locked into the Patriots. And he's at OTAs now, too. And he's been looking good, apparently. Like, health-wise.
That video's crazy.
Some of the headlines that came out about that, by the way, like, they weren't involved with OTAs, so I didn't include them, but just funny.
Handing out something that he probably shouldn't be handing out on a boat that he probably shouldn't.
Is what a lot of people were calling it.
Right. That's the official way of saying pink cocaine.
I didn't know if we could say that or not.
I don't see why not.
Move on to the other Diggs, Trayvon. Despite OTAs being voluntary, Trayvon Diggs faces potential $500K loss in upcoming season salary if he fails to complete in the Cowboys offseason program due to a clause that the Cowboys have inflicted in players' contracts.
I know players get fined for not showing up. Well, no. This is optional. There's no way the NFLPA would allow that. You can't miss spring training or mandatory mini camp without getting fined. But the O in OTA stands for optional. This is cap.
This is actually fact. So the reason that the Cowboys can do this, they're the only franchise that does this, by the way. You have to complete 84.375% of the off-season programs. And that includes like the camps that come around once that you have to be at, the mandatory. But that doesn't make up 84%. So you have to show up to some of the optional stuff to reach that percentage number. And Trayvon Diggs currently will not.
Otherwise, you get how much in fines? $500,000?
I don't know if it's like that in every it's probably a certain percentage of the contract, but for Diggs specifically, $500K.
How does the NFLPA allow that?
Because Jerry
Jones.
Jones.
Allowed?
That's probably why. Yeah, I don't know how it's allowed either, though.
All right.
Pretty rough look. Okay, we got just a few more. Moving into the AFC South, Shane Steichen said that Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones will have an open competition for the starting job, and his two quarterbacks will split reps with the first and second team offenses during their offseason practice.
No, there's no way you can say that about a quarterback you drafted 4th overall. It's got to be his job until he loses it, which is definitely a possibility, but that's got to be cap.
Wrong. This is a fact. Shane Steichen openly
crazy.
saying that they don't know who the quarterback is.
That doesn't that like basically pretty much seal Anthony Richardson's career before the season even starts if he's not already the lead candidate to take the job? They want him to go
It's not
earn
a good
it.
look.
Yeah,
I
it's
have
not a good
Anthony
look.
Richardson in dynasty leagues.
Good luck,
Would
man.
sure love if he wins the job.
I bet you would.
Just a few more. Let's move into the NFC North. Vikings' J.J. McCarthy said he is not worried about the pressure coming into his first full season with Minnesota following the Vikings' 14-3 year a season ago, and has confidence that he will lead the Vikings to an even better season.
No, you can't say that. You can't say that after a team goes 14-3.
Yeah, you're
maybe
right. That's
playoff
cap.
success, but yeah, that's cap.
That one is cap. I tried to take a little dig at JJ, maybe think that you would mess that one up, but that is cap, correct.
You got
All
another
right.
one?
Yeah, I got two more.
Okay.
Saints, okay, this is not really OTA headline, but I'm just throwing it out there. Saints quarterback Derek Carr on his decision to retire. He said, I didn't want to have surgery and just sit there and take the Saints' money.
I did see a headline about Derek Carr and some of the decisions going into the retirement, but I didn't get a chance to read it. No, there's no way anybody would say this. Who cares about taking a team's organizational money? That's cap.
He said this. This is real. He said he didn't want to
Ridiculous.
sit there, and it sounds crazy, but just take the Saints' money. Good guy, Derek Carr, huh?
Stupid guy, Derek Carr.
All right, I got one more.
Hit me.
Calvin Ridley endorses rookie quarterback Cam Ward, saying that any rookie QB has to have that, quote, F it mentality, and Ward most definitely has that.
Yeah, it seems like a reasonable thing a veteran wide receiver would say about a rookie quarterback. Fact.
Yep, ended on a strong note.
There you
It
go.
indeed is fact and real. So those are the Factor Cap OTA NFL headlines.
There you go. Just took a trip around the league. All right, we've still got a lot to get to today. I'm expecting an all-time low NBA Finals in terms of ratings. I'll explain that, and I want to know what our dream matchups would be for the following season. Still got to get to some Yzerman stuff because watching last night's Stanley Cup, brutal slap in the face to all Red Wings fans that were able to watch that. So all of that is still coming up here on the Ben Bosscher Show, but I've got to tell you guys, First Class Epoxy now in Midland turns boring concrete into smooth, shiny, and durable floors. Perfect for garages, workshops, basements, anywhere you want your floor that looks great and lasts. Their epoxy is tough, even for heavy traffic and wild dance moves. Yeah, really, wild dance moves. Professional prep, flawless finish, done on time and built to last. Say goodbye to stains, cracks, and dull gray floors. You don't want that. Say hello to slick, showroom shine. Call First Class Epoxy now or visit firstclassepoxynow.com. First Class Epoxy, where your floors get the VIP treatment they didn't even know they needed. Still an hour and a half left here on the Ben Bosscher Show. We'll keep it rolling. Stay tuned. We'll be back in a second.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
Whether you love them or can't stand them, surprises are a part of life. I'm Kevin Spencer, your Midland Edward Jones financial advisor, and I can help you get ready for whatever life throws at you, even the welcome surprises. As your needs change, we can change what you need to do to help you end up where you want to be. And while there is never a good time to experience unexpected costs, we can work together to make them feel a little less unexpected.
Edward Jones financial advisor Kevin Spencer at 416 West Wackerly in Midland, under the green awning.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Ace Hardware and Sports in downtown Midland has some extra savings for rewards members this month. Let's clean up that yard. Save $3 instantly on select Roundup and Ortho weed killers. Save $10 on 64-ounce spruce, weed, and grass killer. You know what season it is? Grilling season. Free assembly and delivery on grills, $399 and up from brands like Weber and Traeger. Need that deck touched up? Do it and save $10 instantly on a gallon of Cabot exterior stain.
Tired of floors that snore? Walls that whisper, nah. Premier Tile in Midland is here to spice things up one tile at a time. They've got backsplash that'll make your pasta jealous.
What?
Shower walls that'll actually sing in the morning. And floors so fabulous, you'll consider eating dinner off them. Stylish, affordable, slightly obsessed with grout. Visit Premier Tile, located between Stark and Sturgeon, right off US 10, or at premiertilestone.com.
We can't see tomorrow, but we can hear it. And it sounds like peace of mind, knowing our lakes will be better protected by placing Line 5 in the Great Lakes Tunnel. And that we've added extra safety measures while we work to build it. Because we're committed to keeping the Great Lakes safe for generations to come. Tomorrow is on. Visit enbridge.com/line5 for more information. Enbridge. Life takes energy.
Since 2007, the Michigan Baseball Foundation has invested over $1.8 million into our communities, supporting over 350 projects across 14 Michigan counties. From restoring Alma Little League fields to creating nature-based classrooms at the Chippewa Nature Center and enhancing accessibility at the middle of the Mitt Miracle Field, MBF is making a real difference. Every ticket to a Great Lakes Loons game helps fund these initiatives. Join us in building a stronger, more vibrant community. Learn more at MichiganBaseballFoundation.org.
From the hometown heroes to the college legends to the pros on Sunday, 100.9 The Mitt is your home for wall-to-wall play-by-play coverage. High school football, basketball, and hockey.
Region champions for the first time in school history.
Michigan State football and basketball.
Touchdown, MSU!
The NFL, Thursday, Sunday, and Monday night primetime games. And don't think we forgot about your hometown team. The Great Lakes Loons.
That ball's over and out of here.
100.9 The Mitt.
Attention high school sports fans, are you an armchair official? You know, the parent or fan who constantly yells at the referees and loves to let everyone know just how bad you think they are. Well, if you think you could do better, then get in the game and prove it. It's time for you to suit up and make the calls where they actually count. Every sport in Michigan needs more officials. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
Welcome back into the Ben Bosscher Show right here on 100.9 The Mitt. Live on Facebook, live on YouTube. You guys can go there and subscribe. Start saying things in the chat. We've already had Kyle be told his voice sounds like a penguin today in the chat, so some fun stuff going on there. We do have a Mitt message coming in. From Eric. He says, when are you going to break into those donuts over there? How long do donuts last? Like, I feel like they last a while.
They last a while, yeah.
But at this point, I don't know if I want to open them.
They've been broken into.
Let's see how many are left.
Pulling it live. There can't be many. Like 2.
Yeah. We brought them in opening day. Okay. There's 3. There it is, chat. Well, there's 2 and then one that's kind of had like a quarter taken out of it. You want any of these, Kyle? Because I think I've had too many of them this week already.
We'll have Sarah have
is
them.
the problem. Yeah. I'm not a big donut person, and I've already had like 2 or 3 this week, and then I felt kind of sick during the not sick, but crummy during the show. So, yeah, probably not going to break into those anymore. But if you want one, feel free to take one, Kyle, because I don't want them anymore. Okay. I'm expecting this to be one of the lowest rated NBA finals in a long time. The past 3 years, the ratings have gone down 3 straight seasons. From 2022 when it was a 6.6 rating, 2023 6.1, 2024 5.8. A lot of that has to do with the teams, but I think a lot of it just has to do with people aren't watching basketball as much anymore. In 2021 is when it was like not historically bad, but a 5.2 rating, and then 2020, that is the historically bad rating season. That's the bubble year, Lakers versus Heat, a 4.0 rating, which was the worst rated NBA Finals of all time, which has to do with it being football season, way later into the year. There's bubble stuff. People didn't like what was going on in there. I expect this year's finals with 2 of the smallest markets across basketball, 2 of the 5 smallest markets in the NBA, to be somewhere between 2020's historically low and 2021's 5.2 rating, which was also pretty bad in the all-time stuff. It's 2 markets that I don't want to say don't have passionate fan bases, because when you look at what both of those stadiums look like, I mean, it's fantastic in there, and I'm sure the ratings will be high in the OKC market. I'm sure the ratings will be high in the Indiana market, but from a national standpoint, I just expect this to be a really lowly rated finals, but I don't think that translates to it necessarily being a bad basketball product being played on the floor, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Thunder are going to be, they're super favored. A good example of this is 2021 NBA Finals. Bucks, Suns, Milwaukee versus Phoenix. This was 2 small market teams at the times, and it was a tremendous NBA Finals.
Amazing.
Like one of the best. It was the best finals like there hasn't been one better since that one.
I would agree.
So it has the potential with 2 small market teams, but it has to be a good product on the court. I don't know with these 2 teams if we'll get that from a competitive standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking this is probably Thunder in 5. I know that's kind of the boring pick. Everybody's kind of said that, but I just don't expect a lot of people to be watching this, and I guess I don't necessarily blame them. There's not an American super-duper star like LeBron, like Steph. The basketball fans are still going to watch it if they like basketball, and if you don't, there's not a big reason to watch this NBA Finals, especially when everyone is telling you over and over again that Oklahoma City is going to blow them out of the water, which is, for the most part, what I believe. Again, I think the Pacers have one thing going for them, and I think that that's going to come into play here tonight, that they don't turn the ball over. And that's kind of where Oklahoma City thrives. Whether or not the Pacers can score in the half court, I think, is a completely different question. But one thing we do know is Tyrese Halliburton's not going to give the Thunder free possessions, and if he does, the game's already over. The Pacers don't have the offense or defense, for that matter, to slow down this Oklahoma City team that I think is a juggernaut, and I'm not sure if people are recognizing it quite yet as the juggernaut that they are. Like, this is to me the best team since the Kevin Durant Warriors, and there's a real consideration that Boston deserves to be in this, even just from last year, but they were so 3-point dependent. This team is not. They're not hitting their threes much in the playoffs, and they're still rolling teams and blowing them out of the water. I struggle to see that there's a better team that's existed since the KD Warriors. You?
Yeah, I think that's fair, especially with OKC having such a constant on defense. Like, their defense brings it every single game, whereas with the Boston thing, yeah, they were 3-point reliant. Now it worked, but you're right. It's something that can just be shifted. On any given game, they could not knock down shots, and things are different. So with OKC, they bring it defensively every single time. And I think this fact that this is year 1 of a potential dynasty starting for OKC kind of makes you want to lean that way as well. But yeah, definitely a good consideration for them to be the best team since 2018-19.
While I was putting this together and kind of crafting this topic, like, hey, this is going to be a bad NBA rated finals, but that doesn't necessarily translate to being bad basketball. I started to think to myself, what ideally would be a finals for next season? Because this year, I think Adam Silver was most certainly rooting for the Knicks to come out of the East, and by the time the Eastern Conference and Western Conference finals were set, the Timberwolves to come out of the West. Anthony Edwards, your marketable star, versus the biggest brands in the Eastern Conference, the Knicks. What do you think, if Adam Silver could draw it up for next season, what the finals look like, what he would choose, what would put the NBA back on the map in terms of, hey, look at these ratings, they're back up there with what it was for Cavs Warriors for all of those seasons. I've got a good one. I'm going to let you go first, though.
Okay, so this is still a realistic pick, though, right? Like teams that actually we think have a chance to go on a run in the playoffs.
You might tell me mine's unrealistic, but I'm going to make the case.
That's fair. So first off, obviously, the Lakers out west. LeBron's potential last season, maybe one more after this. They just got Luka as well, so they have one of the superstars of the league, plus LeBron going on a farewell tour run to the finals. That's an obvious lock out west. You still have Curry. Maybe OKC going back is kind of fun, but from a ratings perspective, for sure the Lakers. Out east, I mean, this is a chalk pick, but the Knicks making it after having this run, we saw them this past season go to the Eastern Conference Finals, how much buzz there was with the Knicks fans, how big of a topic they were. I mean, they're still a bigger topic right now than either of the two teams in the finals. So you put them in the finals with the Lakers, that Knicks fan base and market with LeBron and the LA market. We haven't seen a Knicks-Lakers finals ever. Maybe from way back when that I can't recall, but I can't think of a time we had one. So that's going to be my pick, Lakers-Knicks.
There's one thing that I considered, or that is one thing I considered, Lakers versus Knicks. But I think there's another route we can go to launch the NBA into the next generation of players. And it's not the Thunder. It's not the Lakers with Luka. It's not the Thunder with SGA. It is the Knicks with Giannis. They trade away Karl Anthony Towns to acquire the likes of Giannis. So the Knicks with a real generational player, sorry, Jalen Brunson, that's not you, versus the Spurs with Victor Wembanyama and Kevin Durant. That, to me, would put the NBA back to where it's like every single person on the planet tuned in to watch this. This is back with Warriors versus Cavs. This is back when it's Pistons versus Celtics, and basketball does feel mainstream, and there's not more NBA haters than there are NBA fans, because that's what it feels like it is right now. If Wemby and Durant ended up teaming up, and then Giannis and Brunson ended up teaming up, and they saw those two teams go toe-to-toe in the finals with Wemby kind of knocking on the door as to this is my league now in year number 3, that to me would draw more than anything other than maybe the Lakers, but that's almost a different thing. I'm trying to move on from the LeBron era of the NBA, if that's.
But it being
okay.
LeBron, but like this is the perfect way to move on from it. You know,
one more finals run
last season, one more finals run with Luka, who's taking over. Like that's kind of the end of the LeBron era. The perfect way to cap it off. I will say quickly, Knicks Lakers was the finals matchup in '73. The Willis Reed infamous playoff run.
Yes.
So sorry to John Vicari if you're listening.
That was a good series.
He obviously was fuming at home probably hearing me say that.
That was a really good
series. I
series.
like the Spurs take, though. I think with Wembanyama, that's a star that maybe a lot of casual NBA fans haven't gotten to watch to a full extent yet. Obviously missed a ton of time this past season. But once he is on a big stage in the playoffs and potentially on a finals run, people are going to realize, oh my goodness, this is the weirdest thing I've ever seen on a basketball court.
It doesn't make any sense, man.
No.
We got robbed of a couple months of him down the stretch of the season, but when it comes to, you and I are big NBA nuts, when it comes to just throwing on a random NBA game on League Pass, he by far this season was like, yep, I don't care that the
tops
Spurs
anything
suck.
else.
Yeah, it's an incredible watch. 989-837-6125. That's the number to the messages. We've got the YouTube chat going live as well. Subscribe there. All right, let's get back into we just talked NBA Finals. I want to do Stanley Cup because yesterday I thought was a big slap in the face to the Red Wings fans. I'll tell you about that next year on 100.9 The Mitt's Ben Bosscher Show.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
It's time to remember that. With Kyle Sandell.
Presented by Matt Larson, Farm Bureau agent located downtown Midland. With the NBA Finals starting this week, it's the 7th straight season with 2 new teams in the NBA Finals. It's a different era of the NBA when there was super teams with the Warriors running things, LeBron going to 8 straight finals. And I'm starting to hear the narrative that people are missing the super teams. They're missing the superstars, the dynasties of the league, a team to root against and hope there's an underdog that can take them down at some point. Well, I got news for those NBA fans. That is about to come back, and it all starts in this NBA Finals. The Oklahoma City Thunder right now are heavily favored to beat the Indiana Pacers and are set up for a future brighter than a lot of past champions in recent NBA history. 17 first-round picks over the next 5 years. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander just winning his first MVP award. Last year, they were the youngest 1 seed in NBA history. This team is set up to be a major dynasty in the NBA. So for those NBA fans that miss the dynasties, they miss the super teams, well, you have good news coming your way. A super team is being started, and it starts this week in the NBA Finals with the Oklahoma City Thunder. And thank goodness the Pistons, who are also a growing team, play in the Eastern Conference. Remember that. Presented by Matt Larson, Farm Bureau agent, located downtown Midland.
Now, wait a second, Sharon. So the Midland Area Community Foundation runs the Midland Area Santa House?
You bet we do.
And Midland Area River Days?
Absolutely.
Plus scholarships for students and grants for local nonprofits? That's like hitting the cycle and impacting our community.
Anyone can step up to the plate and help build community capital for as little as $5.
$5? That's the cost of a snack at the ballpark. How do I get in the game?
Just visit midlandfoundation.org and make a gift to our community investment fund. Every dollar makes a difference.
Join the team. Give today at midlandfoundation.org.
Get ready, Michigan. Field of Frames Fest presented by Dow is taking over Dow Diamond September 26th through 28th. It's the ultimate celebration of gaming, esports, and community, bringing together fans, families, players, and industry pros for a 3-day festival like no other. Watch elite teams battle in high-stakes competition. The Valorant Collegiate Invitational and Rocket League Semi-Pro Showdown, each with $10,000 prize pool. A $5,000 Super Smash Bros. Open Tournament. And a 17U Fortnite Youth Tournament with $1,000 up for grabs. There's live music, entertainment, and activities for all ages, plus educational panels and hands-on workshops for those interested in tech, business, and gaming industries. Tickets start at just $25, and kids 10 and under get in free. Don't miss your chance to be part of a landmark event. Visit fieldofFramesFest.com to grab your tickets today. Field of Frames. Experience the element of gaming.
Discover championship golf with amazing views at Apple Mountain in Freeland. Whether you're chasing birdies or just out for a relaxing round, Apple Mountain offers a stunning 18-hole experience for every skill level. Perfect greens, scenic fairways, and a course that plays as beautifully as it looks. Book your tee time now at applemountain.com. Apple Mountain. Golf elevated. Just minutes from Saginaw, but miles from the ordinary.
You want sports takes? You want local voices that own the mic? Yeah. We've got them on Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt. It kicks off at 6 a.m. with Anthony Bellino on Spin on Sports.
Rise and shine.
From 9 to noon, don't miss Michigan's newest sports show, The Ben Bosscher Show.
Hey, remember that.
At noon, you get America's smartest sports takes, The Herd with Colin Cowherd.
I want Shador to play.
And at 3, the one and only Bill Simonson and The Huge Show. This is where real fans stay locked in. 100.9 The Mitt. Local sports don't stop when the game ends, and neither do we. 100.9 The Mitt is your digital home for the latest news across the state of Michigan. From high school to college and the pros, it's all on our socials. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Just search 100.9 The Mitt and join the squad. Stay locked in on the latest stats and stories with exclusive video takes from local talent. Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt.
High school sports don't just happen. There's a ton of work that goes into every single athletic event.
And we have our school's athletic director to thank for a lot of it. Thank you.
For scheduling officials, so I can always play the game I love.
For ordering quality athletic equipment, so I can stay safe on the field.
For mentoring my coaches, so they can be the best role models for me.
For coordinating transportation, so I can get focused for the big game.
For helping us develop character, and learn lessons that will benefit us for the rest of our lives.
Thank you to our AD for always creating a positive experience for us. We'll never forget it.
From all of us at the NIAAA, thank you to every athletic administrator in Michigan for all you do to enrich the lives of your students. It does not go unnoticed. This message presented by the NIAAA, the National Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
All right, Stanley Cup happened yesterday. Game 1, Oilers take a 1-0 lead. Our lock of the day yesterday was Connor McDavid to score a goal. Leon Draisaitl.
Your lock of the day.
My lock of the day. Thank you for reminding me. Was Leon Draisaitl to I looked at last year's Stanley Cup. I was like, he didn't score once. Not a good sign.
McDavid to score. Draisaitl did score.
No, I know. And my reasoning for not picking Draisaitl yesterday was because he didn't score once. And I was like, well, I'm not going to pick a guy who's didn't show up for 7 games last year. He scores 2 minutes into the game yesterday?
Yeah.
3 minutes, and then ended up scoring. Yeah, ended up scoring later on in the game too.
I did say
McDavid had points. No goal though.
Yes, he did. Yeah, 2 assists. With these games, it always feels like game 1, the superstar is a bit quiet. Game 2 is the pop-off game.
Is Draisaitl not a superstar too, though?
I was just McDavid specifically. That's just kind of he definitely scores next game, but the odds are going to be worse.
Yeah, whenever we do a show next week where they're playing, I guess I don't have the schedule pulled up in front of me. I'd imagine they would game Tuesday. That sounds right. I'll probably do McDavid again. He's going to score eventually in the series. So I may as well keep doing it until he hits it.
They play game 2 tomorrow, and then game 3 is on Monday.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, Monday. Lock it in. Lock of the week is
they play tomorrow. You could make that your lock of the day tomorrow.
I might. Who knows? It's probably going to be something with Skubal, though. Just take his Ks, take something with Skubal. Okay. That is... I was wondering, where were we going from there? The reason I brought up the Stanley Cup Finals is because I thought watching yesterday's game, specifically those first few minutes, and specifically that Leon Draisaitl goal, was just such a slap in the face to Red Wings fans. Because you got to watch, you didn't get to, you did watch Jake Wallman, former Red Wing, get a point in a Stanley Cup Finals for the Edmonton Oilers. Had the assist on the first Draisaitl goal of the day. And the reason that is a slap in the face is because it proves that Steve Yzerman, once again, failed to read the market. Failed to be above and beyond and be one step ahead in terms of being an NHL GM. The timeline on Jake Wallman is with St. Louis in 2022, the Red Wings trade Nick Leddy and Luke Witkowski for Jake Wallman and a second-round pick. They get a second-round pick to do so. Over the next 3 seasons, Jake Wallman has 43 points with Detroit, and then the Red Wings decide to attach a second-round pick to trade him to San Jose to free up some cap space. Nothing in return except future considerations. So you land Jake Wallman, get a productive player, and a second-round pick. Then you attach a second-round pick to get rid of him in exchange for absolutely nothing. Then later on, a year later, this season, after scoring 32 points with San Jose and being a very productive player for a team that didn't make the playoffs, Edmonton sees value in him and ends up spending a first-round pick for next season and a prospect in order to bring in Jake Wallman. Do they regret that? Absolutely not, because he just scored a point and helped them win a game in the Stanley Cup Final. Yzerman's inability to get the right kind of value for a Jake Wallman is mind-blowing. San Jose was probably picked up the phone. Hey, Steve Yzerman, what's going on? What do you want? Oh, you want to give us Jake Wallman and a second-round pick for free just to free up some cap space? Okay. And then a few months later, they end up flipping him for a first-round pick. That's the kind of stuff like Holmes was doing. That's the kind of stuff Trajan Langdon was doing for San Jose. And for the Red Wings, it's like you just got fleeced. Steve Yzerman in charge of all those moves, acquiring him, trading him away, and then watching his value double less than a year later. Malpractice, to say the least. And there's still people out there that get angry when you bring this stuff up about Steve Yzerman. Oh, you got to give him time. Look at the CBA. Look at all the stuff the NHLPA has set up to where it's impossible to land free agents. It doesn't matter what you do in free agency if this is how you're going to handle guys that are productive and can help Stanley Cup teams when you have them on your team. Jake Wallman was a good player. You didn't have to trade him away. And the reason they traded him away to free up cap space was to go sign aging veterans. It's malpractice. If Steve Yzerman's name was Joe Schmo, he would be gone. And I don't even think it'd be a question. But instead, this guy's got the longest leash of any Detroit GM. He's got the longest leash of maybe any GM in the NHL because he's done so much for this franchise as a player. You have to separate what it is as a player and as a GM, because as a GM, this has been bad. I know they got better and better and better, and he inherited what was one of the worst situations in the NHL with no cap space and a bad team. But then you started to take step up, and then you took a giant step backwards this year. Now you got to take 2 steps forward to even get back to where you should be. I think it's ridiculous that there's people out there still trying to defend Steve Yzerman, because how he handled the Jake Wallman thing and then watching him score a point in the Stanley Cup Finals yesterday, I thought it was just a huge slap in the face for Red Wings fans.
Well, the part that I think is most frustrating for the fans is you see the other teams in Detroit have quickly and faster rebuilt their teams, right? The Pistons go back to the playoffs this year. First year under new GM. The Tigers now, after going to the playoffs on a historic run last year, have backed it up with a season being the best team in Major League Baseball so far. And it would take quite a fall off for them to miss the playoffs. And obviously the Lions, we know what they have done. It's hard to compare across sports, obviously, and it could be unfair as well. But it's shown that in this city, things are turning around. So the pressure should be even higher on Stevie Y now because he's so far into this rebuild, and all the other teams have redone it.
Mm-hmm. And what's the nickname for the city? What's the name of the restaurant?
City?
Hockey Town?
Oh.
It doesn't feel like Hockey Town right now. And it hasn't felt like Hockey Town
fourth.
for a decade. Hockey's 4th by a mile right now.
And everything about the hockey's 4th, right? The management, the coach, like the team, the performance, all of it's 4th.
The expectation, the attend. I guess I don't know about the attendance right off the top of my head.
Probably not.
Probably, yeah, there's probably more of a draw at the Wings games than at least the Pistons regular season. But now that everyone has got a taste of what that postseason feels like, I feel like the Pistons...
Actually, yeah, you know what's not for? Red Wings fans. That's not for...
Wait.
There's a lot of Red Wings fans out there. A lot of Red Wings fans outside of Detroit, across the nation. And they're still having to deal with this team not be the prestigious franchise that it's known for.
That's because the Red Wings fans that you're talking about are fearful to go after Steve Yzerman. They don't want to say a bad thing about him because he's dear to their hearts, which is somewhat understandable for everything that he's done. But again, you have to separate what he is as a player and what he is as a GM. Chat in the chat says, it's frustrating, but I don't know if comparing the Wings to the other teams is necessarily fair. The Lions were bad forever. The Tigers weren't in the playoffs for 10 years, and the Pistons had been horrific. All true. But it's not like Steve Yzerman's been the GM here for 2 years or 1 year or 3 years. He got hired in 19 season, 20 season, 21, 22, 23, 24. We're going into year 7. So maybe it's not comparable because it's harder to rebuild a team in baseball and in hockey than it is in football and the NBA, in my opinion. But Scott Harris has done it, and Brad Holmes has done it, and Trajan Langdon has done it. The only one who hasn't done it is Steve Yzerman. And again, if his name was Joe Schmo, he would be fired by now. I don't even think that's up for debate anymore. It's just been too long, if you ask me. And unless some major moves are needed, are made in free agency, I would like, if the Red Wings aren't off to a hot start by Christmas, get rid of them. That's what they did last year with Lalonde. Bad start. They pulled the trigger on it early. It saved Steve Yzerman's job for the rest of the year. You don't get to do that again. You don't get a coaching excuse this year. Coaching only goes so far. Yeah, they got a lot better and it sparked something under them when they got rid of Lalonde. But at the end of the day, your players weren't as good as they were last year. Your roster wasn't as good as it was last year because of the moves Steve Yzerman made in the offseason, or the lack of moves that Steve Yzerman made in the offseason is more the correct terminology there. Stanley Cup, we'll keep monitoring it throughout the Stanley Cup Finals. So the Tigers, I think, are in a very interesting circumstance right now, though, because AJ Hinch said something yesterday that I thought was fascinating, how to maximize this roster even more. They already did it with Parker Meadows, bringing him back. You even got the return of Long yesterday. Now they've got something even more fascinating to deal with. Colt Keith. Is he going to make a position change? That is next here on the Ben Bosscher Show. Hour number 3 coming up on 100.9 The Mitt.
Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
Hey, sports fans heading up north, whether you're gearing up for the big game, hosting friends, or winding down after a long day, Hops and Schnapps is your ultimate beverage destination. With one of the largest selections of beer, wine, and spirits in Michigan, featuring over 1,000 options from around the globe, we're your beverage experts. Plus, our friendly team is here to help you find the perfect pick. Visit us in Standish, Grayling, and Gaylord today. Hops and Schnapps, raise your glass, raise your spirits.
Parents, summer is almost here. Do you have a plan? Keep your kids active, engaged, and having a blast at Greater Midland Summer Camps. Every day is a new adventure filled with games, sports, creative activities, and new friendships. Plus, new this year, our full-day camps are now at the Greater Midland Tennis Center. More space, more fun, and more memories to be made. Spots are filling fast, so don't wait. Secure your child's best summer ever today at greatermidland.org/camps.
Calling all royalty. Join the Great Lakes Loons for Princess Night, presented by High Country Jumpers. Saturday, June 21st. The Loons will take the field in magical Moana-inspired jerseys. Stick around after the game for a dazzling fireworks loontacular, presented by Farm Bureau Insurance. It's a night fit for the whole family. Tickets are selling fast. Visit loons.com before they're gone. This is the Great Lakes Loons, everyone's hometown team. We're in your town, your school, your huddle. 100.9 The Mitt is here for sports fans in the Great Lakes Bay region. From the hardwoods of Saginaw to Midland's Friday Night Lights. From the streets of Bay City to Freeland, Frankenmuth, and Hemlock. We roll through Beaverton, Auburn, Pinconning, Essexville, and Shepherd. All the way to Gladwin, Birch Run, Coleman, and Bridgeport. This is your sports station. High school, college, NFL, the Loons. It's all right here. 100.9 The Mitt, Mid-Michigan sports leader. This is more than just a lineup. It's a daily ritual for the die-hard Michigan sports fans. At 6 a.m., Anthony Bellino wakes up the state with Spin on Sports.
I do not believe it.
At 9, the Ben Bosscher Show is appointment listening hosted here in the Great Lakes Bay region.
I would like to buy some Casey Mize stock.
America's Best takes over at noon. The Herd with Colin Cowherd.
Well, what about Patrick Mahomes?
And at 3, Bill Simonson brings it home on The Huge Show. Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt, for the most passionate fans in Michigan.
When it comes to a gun suicide attempt, all it takes is a moment.
My son, Ricky, took his life by the use of a firearm. It broke me, and I contemplated suicide. My grandson, I was gonna have to be here for him. I still own my firearm. I keep it in a safe because I want to keep my grandson and myself safe.
Store your guns, locked, unloaded, and away from ammo. Hear more safe stories at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by Brady and the Ad Council.
From the Blazy Electric Studios, this is Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt, WLUN, Pinconning, Bay City, Saginaw, Midland.
All right, welcome back into the payoff. There it is. I did it again.
Oh.
Welcome into the Ben Bosscher Show. Hour number 3, day number 4 of the new era of Detroit sport, Michigan sports, I guess. Detroit sports too. Right here on 100.9 The Mitt. We're live on YouTube. We're live on Facebook. Hey, before we dive into this Tigers thing that I had planned out, where do you stand on baseball fights? Because I was scrolling on Twitter during that break, and I saw a minor league team from the Mariners. One guy's trotting the bases on a home run. Ends up just talking to everybody on the way around. First baseman, shortstop, second baseman. And benches clear, and a brawl ends up starting out. Like a real baseball brawl. The ones we don't really get anymore. Yeah. I think baseball fights are the best fights there are in sports. Football fights, I think
they are too.
Football fights are stupid. It's like take it out on the field in between the whistle. You have the option to
football
destroy
fights
each
are
other.
stupid because dudes keep their helmets on and are throwing punches.
Yeah.
Like,
makes no sense. Just go
it's
hit
gonna
each
hurt
other in
your
the
hands.
next play. Yeah. Basketball fights just don't really exist anymore. And
they could be good.
I just don't think they belong on the court, to be honest. Hockey fights are just, I feel like we're just accustomed to them. We've seen enough of them. Baseball fights are where you really get it's the weakest type of swings you'll see. Nothing against the baseball guys. It's just, I don't think they're fighters at heart, most of them. But once you actually do get a brawl of the benches clearing, the bullpen start running out, it's so awesome. It's so great because someone always ends up getting a punch right to the jaw. It's awesome.
I think the best part about the baseball fights is that, one, it's always like a 30v30.
Yes.
And then, two, there's nothing funnier than when a little tiny scuffle happens in the field and the dudes in the bullpen are like, let's go.
Yeah,
like, we
it's
gotta
time.
run.
It's time. This is our
and
time.
They all are coming out ready to go. It's like an unwritten rule that if something small happens, all hands on deck, ready to throw, ready to scrap.
The only thing I don't like about it is sometimes I'll get like the MLB Fox or ESPN notifications to where it's like, bro, like bench is clear. And then you click on the video and the bench is clear, but nothing actually happens.
That's what I'm saying. The bench is clear too frequently for literally everything, but I think it's hilarious.
It's so awesome. But when you get a real, like we've only had one in the last few years. It was the Ramirez and Tim Anderson.
Yeah, and
when Ramirez dropped him, square in the jaw, dropped him. And
the best part is, I'm forgetting his name, but the Guardians radio guy, he's like one of the legends in the game. But just immediately flips the switch to being an MMA broadcaster. It was so good.
I'm going to have to look that up afterwards because I don't know if I've ever seen that. But dude, Tim Anderson totally had that coming for him too. I don't know why he stood over Ramirez like that. And then he dropped his glove and like square, like it's like he had been plotting that he was going to fight Ramirez for years. And he finally saw the opportunity. And then he got dropped. It was hilarious.
Fights. I mean, Rougned Odor and Jose Bautista at second base was just like...
That's the other one that comes to mind.
A crazy punch.
I don't know what's happened in the past, decade, but it feels like there's just significantly less of them now. I feel like growing up,
I mean, everybody's friends, you know?
Yeah, that's true. I feel like growing up, though, watching SportsCenter every morning religiously before school. I guess during the summer there wasn't school, but every few weeks there'd be a bench clearing brawl.
Yeah.
And
it was
now
like that in
it's
all sports. There was more fights in basketball. There was more. I mean, football is different. Everyone hates each other in football still, no matter what.
Well, after the malice, it just kind of. I feel like the fights ended abruptly.
I think basketball fights have the disadvantage because the fans are so close, where the fans can really get involved quickly. Not even just with flooding the court, but just a fight going into the crowd. We've seen that happen in college specifically.
Yeah, which is why I think it's probably best there are no fights ever in the NBA.
Exactly.
Scuffles, one thing, but I don't think there should ever be a brawl that breaks out. And then you get into some of the cultural stuff and what gets pointed out after that happens, and it just turns into something you don't really want to mess with, I think, if you're the NBA. But baseball, I just don't think there's anything better than a good old brawl on the field in baseball. There was almost a brawl here after the game a couple of years ago at Dow Diamond.
Really? I was just going to say, in my time here, I've yet to see even really a scuffle. You know, you got people talking, but nothing real.
I can think of two instances, and neither time it actually resulted in punches being thrown. I think the first time there actually was, but it was Star Wars night, Saturday night, so it was already a jam-packed crowd. Every single seat full.
Up, man.
That's right, Star Wars night in a couple next Saturday. So jam-packed, everyone's waiting for fireworks. It's a beautiful day in June. And I'm down there with the fireworks kid, all right, you want to go out there and help me light off the fireworks? And it's the best day ever for him. We get 2 steps out in the field, and everyone from the opposing dugout stepped onto the field because the Loons players were just jawing at him, take that, because it had been a when you play a team 6 times in a row, you're bound to make some enemies, and all of a sudden they just start running at each other. And everyone went toe to toe, nose to nose at the first base line. I think some shoves were thrown. I can't remember if an actual hand and punch was thrown, but I just remember sitting there in the middle of it. Louis Loon, the mascot's quite literally in the middle of all of it. He looks like he's panicking, trying to get out of there. Not a real fighter that Louis Loon is. I'm with the firework kid, stay right here. I gotta go take care of business.
I gotta go get in the fight.
Yeah,
that's the one thing about fights. When it happens with my team, or the teams that I root for, I don't like them at all. Like I turn into like a parent. I'm like, please stop. Everyone stop.
Oh, you
Be
mean
nice.
once a week when Ron Holland starts squaring up with someone?
Right. Or like when the Isaiah Stewart thing happened, like I was freaking out.
I was in the building
like, this
that
needs
day.
to stop.
Did you know that?
You went to that game?
I was at the game where Isaiah Stewart tried to
What?
kill LeBron James. Yes.
How did I not know that?
And so we were in a nosebleed, but this is when the Pistons were just tragically bad and no one was at the games. We ended up moving up and we're probably 20 rows up behind the basket on the side that Isaiah Stewart was running towards. And dude, there was an eerie feeling in the building to where George Mason, the PA guy, iconic, has to get on the mic. Please stay in your seats.
Yeah.
Remain calm. Do not engage. And like you could feel it. Like it went from like, whoa, what's going on to like, are we supposed to start fighting each other like right now? Like there was a vibe.
Do I fight the guy next to me? I don't know what to do.
That's kind of, I mean, it wasn't like, do I fight the guy next to me? But there was a sense of like, something's happening here and it could get worse before it gets better. And then sure enough, like Isaiah Stewart starts charging him like a bull. And the friend that I went with, we were just sitting there like, what is happening? And then LeBron gets tossed and we were both pissed because, I mean, you go to the game to see LeBron. Like,
right. That's a good point, actually. That sucks.
Thank God he had his 10 points, that 10-point streak that's like 2 million games in a row of 10-plus points. But I guess that's kind of besides the point. But yeah, that was incredible. But yeah, to your point, like once your team's involved in the fight, I will say I liked this year when like Cade would get kind of insert
I like
himself.
the chippiness. But as soon as it gets to a point where it's like, okay, someone is going to get suspended.
Yeah.
Like, please stop.
Yeah, please stop.
Lions-wise, too.
I can't remember the last time the Tigers were in a good old fight.
Was
there one of the Miguel era?
I mean, like, we had a benches clearing a couple weeks ago when Tarek Skubal and Zach Nito.
See, that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about where it's just so stupid. Like,
why did the benches clear for that?
Why did the benches clear 95% of the time the benches
All they
cleared?
did was stare at each other.
Yeah, and then they ended up apologizing to each other.
Yeah.
Tarek Skubal apologized to, who was it that he started John
Zach
at?
Nito.
Yeah, Zach Nito. Just ridiculous stuff.
Yeah.
That was a side tangent I didn't plan on going on, but that was pretty fun.
Though.
I thought that was productive. There was I don't know if there was any fights yesterday during the NHL game because I only watched the first period because
there was a scuffle
sweepy.
pretty early.
Yeah, but the gloves didn't drop. If the gloves don't drop, it doesn't count. But I saw a couple of the scuffles. There's some big time hits too. Eric chiming in on the Mitt messages, 989-837-6125. We need real punches thrown in baseball fights again. Most benches clearing situations in baseball result in nothing happening. Yeah, it's kind of the message we were echoing again. What did the suspensions look like across Major League Baseball when the punches are thrown? I can't really remember it. Like, how many games did Ramirez get for dropping Tim Anderson? Like
I think Anderson got more games than Ramirez.
Good.
Which is funny because he got decked.
Yeah, he got knocked out cold. He got folded in half like a lawn chair. But Tim Anderson had that coming because Ramirez slides in a second. Tim Anderson stands over him, like quite literally stands over him, stares him down. Ramirez like pushes him off him. And then immediately, like Ramirez is just trying to stand up. And Tim Anderson's like, we're squaring up right now, ready to go. Ron Holland style. I still can't believe Ron Holland did that like 15 games into the season. Like
Anderson was suspended 5 games. Ramirez was suspended 2 games.
That's it? Dude, if that's going to be the case, 162 games for squaring up and fighting guy, you only get 5 games max. Let's get some more of these going, man. If the Tigers start a brawl tonight against the White Sox, which it's the White Sox, so I guess there's not really a reason to. I would love to start.
I know, dude. Javi Baez and them White Sox fans, they could give him a good reason to start a fight with somebody.
No, let's do it.
The White Sox fans hate Javi.
Do the Mets fan or do the Cubs fans hate Javi still, or they probably love him?
They probably love him. Yeah.
Yeah, it got toxic in New York, not Chicago. Let's do it this weekend. Start a fight this weekend.
Who's most likely to start a fight on the Tigers?
On the Tigers? Javi. It's got to be Javi, right?
Probably.
I can't see Torkelson. I can't see Green.
It's definitely Javi the way he was going at that home plate umpire, too, a couple days ago when he got tossed.
Yeah, I don't think anyone else even... I don't know, unless there's like a real wild card we don't know about. Like,
oh, that's my boy right there. That's Javier Bays.
Unless there's like a real wild card, like a Wenzel Perez. I guess I don't hear him talk too much. Maybe he's like a quiet fighter.
Some of the pitchers are hotheads for sure, but I don't think any of them are like fight starters.
Skubal's too good to like legitimately try to throw at someone's head.
But man, nightmare guy to fight.
I would not want to fight Tarek Skubal. would not want to fight Tarek Skubal whatsoever. I think the answer is Javi, for sure.
Probably.
All right. Well, that's a little bit of a side tangent. We meant to get into the Colt Keith going to third base stuff. Let's do that next here on the Ben Bosscher Show. Hey, before we do that, I want to let you guys know about a little brag of mine. A little brag of mine is that I personally in my, how long have I been around? 23 years? I've never had a cavity, but I know a lot of people aren't in that same situation. And if you want to get your smile right, you got to head to Scott Family Dental. Bright smiles at the start of Scott Family Dental, where comfort, care, and clean teeth are the standard. Locally owned by Daniel Scott, a native of the Great Lakes Bay region, the business is family-focused and treats patients of all ages like kids of their own. From routine checkups to whitenings, crowns, and more, they've got the tools and the gentle touch to keep your smile shining. Friendly staff, modern tech, and zero judgment, even if it's been a while since your last visit. So go ahead, show off those pearly whites. Scott Family Dental has your back and your teeth. Colt Keith to third base next here on the Ben Bosscher Show. Stay tuned.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
No Loons baseball last night, postponed due to the weather, so we're going to have a doubleheader starting tonight. First pitch at 6:05. The Loons are out in South Bend facing the South Bend Cubs. They fell in Game 1 on Tuesday, and with no Game 2 last night, they'll make up both here on Thursday. The Loons are now 27-25, third place in the Midwest League East Division, find themselves 9.5 games back from the 37-16 West Michigan Whitecaps. South Bend is currently in last place in the Midwest League West Division at 15-37, so a big week on the road for the Loons to continue to gain some traction in the standings. But once again, 2 7-inning games tonight, first one starting at 6:05. Wyatt Crowell expected to take the bump in Game 1 for the Loons, and then Game 2 will be followed up as soon as Game 1 concludes. It's doubleheader Loons baseball action tonight at 6:05, pregame with John Vicari at 5:50 on 100.9 The Mitt.
It is the Scholar Athlete of the Month, proudly presented by Fisher Companies here on Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt. This month's recipient is Kari Kiefer from Freeland High School. With a 3.97 GPA, Kari is a three-sport athlete competing in cross-country, track, and basketball. Kari is a leader on the floor and talked on what she thinks makes an effective leader.
I think to be a great leader, you have to be able to hold each other accountable, like being able to give constructive criticism, but also a positive with it. Anytime I kind of talk with my teammates, I try to give them a positive if I'm going to give them a negative too, just to kind of balance it out and keep that relationship strong.
Kari scored over 1,500 points in her 4 seasons at Freeland. She'll continue her basketball and academic career at Northwood University. To hear the full interview and nominate a local athlete for our scholarship program, visit 1009themitt.com.
Suit up, Sea Captain. At Dive and Glide in Midland, we've got all the gear you need to make a splash. Flippers that fit like a glove, masks that show you the underwater magic, and tanks ready to fuel your next adventure. Whether you're snorkeling the local lakes or dreaming of ocean depths, Dive and Glide has your back and your fins. Find us on Cambridge Street or swim over to diveandglideinc.com. Dive and Glide, making waves one splash at a time so you can dive deeper than ever before.
We're in your town, your school, your huddle. 100.9 The Mitt is here for sports fans in the Great Lakes Bay region. From the hardwoods of Saginaw to Midland's Friday Night Lights. From the streets of Bay City to Freeland, Frankenmuth, and Hemlock. We roll through Beaverton, Auburn, Pinconning, Essexville, and Shepherd. All the way to Gladwin, Birch Run, Coleman, and Bridgeport. This is your sports station. High school, college, NFL, the Loons. It's all right here. 100.9 The Mitt, Mid-Michigan sports leader.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
I know I said I wanted to do the Tigers third base Colt Keith thing before we went to break. Let's do that next. First, let's do the Mitt Morning Catch.
The Mitt's Morning Catch.
All right, let's hop back into the mid-morning catch. We got a good amount of stuff going on here this morning. Starting things off, in the NBA, we talked about it a little bit earlier, Adam Silver has announced a U.S. versus World All-Star game this upcoming season, Ben. We've seen the NBA attempt to make different changes to the All-Star format the last couple of years because no one cares or watches. Will this fix it?
I think it's a good effort, too. This is kind of what everyone has consensusly thought could work. We saw the NHL try to do it this year and had a ton of success with the Frozen Four type of thing. I don't know. Maybe it gets players to try a little bit more, but I look at the European team of like Luka and Jokic, who already just do not care at all about the All-Star game.
No one does.
No one does. Giannis does. Remember that game Giannis had 50 in the All-Star game?
That's true.
Like, everyone get out of the way. I'm going to try
does
really
care.
hard. Maybe he can convince the world team to try. I don't know. I like the format. I like it if they go to FIBA rules and just kind of let them play a little bit. No whistle. Let them play physical. 40-minute game. Doesn't need to be a 4-hour big event. Just 2-hour game. If you want to watch, go ahead and watch. I don't think there should be any real expectation on it, but I think this is a good experimental way to try to get the players to care about the All-Star game. But if they don't, they don't, you know?
Yeah, I would agree. We get some breaking news in the NFL, broken since the start of the show. Nothing crazy. No need for the sound or anything. Rashad Bateman has signed an extension with the Ravens. 3-year, $37 million deal with $20 million guaranteed. Kind of a lot for Rashad Bateman, who's like a bad wide receiver too. A below-tier wide receiver too.
He's been a very disappointing player for the Ravens for 3 years now.
Yeah.
They gave him how much money?
3 for 37, $20 million guaranteed.
Oh my God.
It's the first 2 years of that at least guaranteed.
They locked up Henry. They locked up Bateman. Locking up all these not very good. No, I mean, Henry's amazing, obviously, but like, really? That's not,
is crazy.
That's not
like,
an area you're
the
trying to improve on
that,
in the draft?
They added Hopkins this offseason too. I know he's not any good, but like,
yeah, whatever.
It's crazy the weapons that Lamar Jackson has had, like how
bad they've all been.
Weak they have been. Yeah. Mark Andrews now starting to decline as well, so.
Yeah. If I was them, I would just continue drafting wide receivers until you finally get one that hits. Zay Flowers is good. I don't think he's
Flowers
like.
is, but like
he's still a low-end wide receiver
though.
one, yeah.
Yeah, he's a very low-end wide receiver one, I would say.
It's a lot of money for Bateman. Good for him, I guess.
It definitely is a lot of money. Yeah, exactly. Good for him. We talked about a little bit earlier, but Oilers beat the Panthers in Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals last night, 4-3. A super tight series as predicted to be. Oilers were slightly favored, so nothing has really changed odds-wise in this series, but we're through one game so far. And tonight, NBA Finals getting started with the Thunder 9.5-point favorites. The way you were talking, Ben, are you thinking Pacers plus 9.5 tonight? The way you're saying Game 1's going to be closer?
I think the Thunder are going to win in 4 or 5. 5 or 6. If the Pacers are going to put up a fight, it's going to be in Game 1. I'm going to stay away from the spread today for our lock of the day. But I would not at all be shocked if the Pacers stay in it, have a good run here, give the Thunder a little bit of a, whoa, like, this isn't a style of play we've seen yet so far in the playoffs. Make it a close game, keep it single digits, and then the rest of the series just isn't very close.
Yeah, that would not. I'm still Thunder in 4. That's the futures bet I've placed on this series.
What'd you get those odds
better
at?
Value than Thunder in 5. Plus 290. It was plus 210 for Thunder in 5.
I think there's only been 9 sweeps in NBA Finals history.
Yeah, there hasn't been a lot.
That's why I don't know.
But there also hasn't been many teams that have been favored by 750 to win the series, you know?
Yeah.
I kind of see some people are like picking the Pacers. I don't know if it's just to be different.
Just a zag. If you're betting, the Thunder being minus 750 and the Pacers only being like plus 500, you're just not getting any value in anything.
Right, yeah, exactly. I already made my money off the Pacers in this playoff so far, so they've done their job for me. Okay, we do have to announce the pitching matchup today in the Tigers game, Game 4 against the White Sox. Tigers trying to get a 3-1 advantage there. Casey Mize versus Sean Burke of the White Sox. That's a 2:10 first pitch.
So as great as Casey Mize has been this season, do you know how bad he's been against the White Sox in his career?
No.
0-4 with a 5.34 ERA, 7 appearances.
Really?
So tonight's kind of the chance to set things straight and
To be fair, the White Sox haven't been terrible like once Casey Mize was healthy when he was younger.
Yeah. That's since 2020. I don't remember what their record was like in 2020.
Right, I mean, they won the division one
now.
of those years when they had the year when the Field of Dream games happened.
Oh, yeah.
Loaded offense the White Sox had. But since then, they've tremendously fallen off.
Here's a chance to kind of go right at the White Sox and pick up another win, which would be his 7th of the year, which only 4 pitchers right now can say.
And he missed some time on the 10-day IL, too.
Yep.
So, very impressive from Casey Mize. Okay, just 2 more things. Jay Batt was introduced as the Michigan State athletic director yesterday. I watched the press conference. Not a ton of takeaways. You kind of expect that, right? It happens at all these introductory press conferences. It's pretty standard, making the easy political answer here. Not trying to say anything too controversial, but looked fine. Izzo's pretty excited.
I think everyone's pretty excited. You got a guy who specializes in funding. Not necessarily in NIL, but raising money, increased funding by 43% in terms of like donations and stuff at Georgia Tech, raised $600 million, I want to say. It was either $500 or $600 million as the COO at Alabama for their football program because they needed it. So obviously Alabama football needed more money. I don't know if he's going to get to quite those numbers at Michigan State, but I think he views Michigan State. I mean, he went from the SEC to Georgia Tech's ACC, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, he went from a Power 5 to a Power 5 because or a Power 4, I guess, because he recognized the value there is in Michigan State. What it is now and what it can be is probably one of the biggest gaps in college football right now when you consider what this school has, the funding that they have, the facilities that they have. For the last 4 or 5 years, they've been kind of viewed as a nobody, a have-not in college football. That shouldn't be the case. I'm not saying they're Michigan in terms of the brand. I'm not saying they're Alabama in terms of what they can put together in terms of funding. But there's no reason this shouldn't be considered one of the 20 best teams in college football on a year-to-year basis. It hasn't been, but it should be. Yeah.
The 2 big quotes that he did say was, there's no better place to be than the Big Ten right now. And a guy that came from the SEC, it's a good point.
Yeah. Would he be saying?
And then he said that Michigan State is a top 10 athletic program in the country, and it should be that way. And that's kind of what we've been preaching on the show the last couple of days. So
wouldn't it have been funny if he was like, yeah, they're like a top 50 athletic program in the country? Why would
maybe
I not
top
want
100.
Yeah.
They're a top 7 Big Ten team.
Top 10 seems aggressive, but I understand what he's saying. There's just a lot more potential than what has been portrayed over the past few years.
Yeah, it's just from a market standpoint, too. The brand that Michigan State has nationwide for sure can be in that top 10 under the right administration. So
loyal
see
fan
if Jay
base.
Batt can do it. Speaking of top 10, that's a top 10 name in college sports.
Jay Batt. I can think of some pretty nasty college
Jay,
football.
by the way, for the people that haven't seen, just the letter J.
What about DeColdis Crawford? Is that that might be number
name.
1? No, it's not.
That's too much. Yeah, it's too much, though. You're trying too hard.
I had a list going earlier. Go ahead and keep going. I'll find this list of the craziest names in college athletics.
All right, I got one more thing for you. We ran through this earlier, but just keeping it on Big Ten college football. Ryan Day said that the Big Ten deserves 4 automatic qualifier spots in the college football playoff, despite them just getting 1 currently, the winner.
All right, man. Everybody's just looking out for the conference anymore. Whatever. All right. I'm nothing against you, Kyle. I'm more interested in this list because there are some crazy names in college athletics right now. General Booty. Is that a real name?
I have seen that. That's college basketball, I believe.
Oklahoma.
But yes, I have seen the name.
Thor Griffith.
Ooh,
These aren't the ones I remember.
You're right. There is some pretty good ones now that you're saying that.
DeColdis Crawford, I think, is just, I don't even know if you might be right. That might be too much.
It's too much because you know what his middle name is?
No, I don't.
To ever do it.
There's a guy that plays at Detroit. His name is DeColdis To Ever Do It Crawford.
Yes, that is his full name. It's too much.
People have gone off the rails. Legend Geeter is apparently a forward at Detroit Mercy.
It's pretty good.
Okay. When we come back, we're getting to this end of the show, but I want to revisit a conversation we had at the beginning of the show revolving around Colt Keith and him moving positions and why that will benefit the Tigers. Keep listening. Ben Bosscher Show. Stay tuned right here on 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
I'm Sarah Stockford, host of 100.9 The Mitt Success Suite, a podcast highlighting the most inspiring female leaders across the Great Lakes Bay region. This month, we spoke with Lisa Tarkington, Executive Director of LEAD, formerly known as Self Love Beauty.
The year 2020, it was April, it was the month after the big shutdown. I called my mom and I was like, what am I doing? I have no money. Yeah, I have no 401k right now. I have, I'm just making it, just getting by at this point, and the world just shut down. And she asked me, do you really want this? And I was like, I want nothing more than to see this succeed. She's like, then you'll figure it out. And I did. I don't know how I did sometimes, right? But I did. And I think that comes back to discipline, never giving up on myself.
Listen to the full interview with Lisa on YouTube at 100.9 The Mitt. Subscribe and hit the notification button to be alerted when new episodes drop. That's Success Suite with Sarah Stockford. The new rebranded Matt Smith Modern Realty.
Well, Matt Smith Outdoors was really reflective of how I started my real estate journey, taking my outdoor experience, moving that into the real estate space to help people buy and sell land. So many people in this region ended up calling me and wanting me to work with them to help them buy and sell homes. This new brand was more reflective of what I'm delivering to people in this region every day.
At Sandy Ridge, our completely renovated clubhouse is ready for you. With a brand new full kitchen, a spacious deck, and plenty of room for any event, it's the perfect spot for weddings, parties, or any special gathering. And that's not all. Our whole 16 green has been redesigned and is better than ever. Plus, our greens are the truest around, on par with the top courses, but at a price that fits your budget. Come visit us today at Sandy Ridge and see why we're the perfect choice for your next event.
Make every trip to Dow Diamond unforgettable with a Great Lakes Loons ticket package. Choose a 5-game or 10-game plan and enjoy priority seating, food and drink credits, and exclusive discounts on merchandise. Want even more? Go for a bronze, silver, or gold membership and get the VIP treatment. Bigger discounts, exclusive events, bonus food and drink credit, or free parking. Great games, great perks, and great memories with your hometown team. Starting with something as small as a 5-game plan at $62. Visit loons.com to secure your package today.
From the hometown heroes to the college legends to the pros on Sunday, 100.9 The Mitt is your home for wall-to-wall play-by-play coverage. High school football, basketball, and hockey.
Region champions for the first time in school history.
Michigan State football and basketball.
Touchdown, MSU!
The NFL, Thursday, Sunday, and Monday night primetime games. And don't think we forgot about your hometown team. The Great Lakes Loons.
That ball's over and out of here.
100.9 The Mitt. Scrolling? Make it count. Want local sports content that actually matters? Yeah. 100.9 The Mitt is loaded with local highlights, viral plays, breaking sports news, and takes you can't get enough of. It's hot! Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube today. And you'll never be out of the loop on the Lions, Tigers, Pistons, Red Wings, Michigan State, and even the biggest stories in high school sports in the Great Lakes Bay region. 100.9 The Mitt, Mid-Michigan's sports leader.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
Welcome back in, Ben Bosscher Show, 100.9 The Mitt. You just heard that, so I guess I didn't really need to repeat it. But you guys can listen on YouTube. You didn't just hear that. You guys can watch on YouTube too, live on Facebook and YouTube at all times. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and get notified when we go live every day at 9 a.m. Kyle, yesterday, I'll fully admit I raised my hand. I didn't make it through the Tigers game. I was very tired. I was very, very tired. But I did watch the first inning. And I think the first thing you got to kind of bring up with last night's game was the return of Sawyer Gibson-Long. I thought he looked good for that first inning I watched. You wake up, see he gave up some hits. Somewhat expected, only threw 70 pitches, which also was somewhat expected. But with Olsen still on IR, that's someone that the Tigers are probably going to have in the rotation here for the next few weeks. At the very least, exciting to get another prospect back up. I love that he's bringing the three different types of fastballs with the cutter, the 4-seam, and the 2-seam. Even just those 3 pitches alone without the breaking ball and changeup thrown in there seem to be something tangible the sinker over and over, and then the high-rising fastball, the four-seamer. Seeing him get a few guys to swing and miss on that earlier on in the game was encouraging for a guy who's been out for a year and a half with Tommy John. I think I'll start there before we get to the Colt Keith thing.
Yeah, I think it's encouraging for Gibson Long because obviously long-term he probably doesn't have a spot in this rotation, but this wasn't just like a spot start. This was a chance for him to be in this rotation for some time, with Job obviously going to miss a good amount of time. We still don't really know the details on that.
Yeah.
Reese Olson seems to be taking a little bit longer in his process to return. So at this moment, I mean, right now there's still only, 4 starters in this rotation? Or I guess you have Montero as well, but
that's not a guy who's
for,
typically in the rotation anyway.
Right, but that's kind of where I'm getting at. It's a chance for SGL to earn that 6th starter spot. You know, when someone does get hurt when they're fully healthy, Sawyer's the guy they call up over Montero. So I think it's a fun little competition for these two guys to see who can perform better over the next couple weeks. But I thought it was encouraging. It was nothing crazy. He went 3 2/3, didn't pitch a ton like you said. But hopefully this is just a start for his return because it's a long process back.
The biggest takeaway for the Tigers, I think, happened before yesterday's game even started. AJ Hinch got in front of a microphone. I guess it could. Did he ever say it in front of a microphone, or was it just to the beat reporters?
I believe it was just to the beat. It was a transcripted quote, so I would guess this wasn't said.
Okay.
Recorded.
Well, he said it at some point to somebody. I wish I could give credit to who it was. I just don't know
Petzl
off the top of
tweeted
my
it.
head.
I know. So
he was the original guy on it. Look at him. He's just on the beat for everything, man.
Yeah.
So it turns out they are prepared for Colt Keith to start taking reps at third base. And this is going to avoid all the awkwardness that has been happening for the last week since Parker Meadows has returned and since Wenzel Perez has returned, because it now allows Gleyber Torres to be the everyday second baseman. It now allows Kerry Carpenter to be the everyday DH while still getting Colt Keith into the starting lineup. Because prior to that, there was this awkward situation with Colt Keith and Gleyber Torres. Only one of them could really play a day, unless one of them was DH, which meant either Kerry Carpenter was in the outfield, which isn't ideal, or Colt Keith was playing first base, which also isn't very ideal, because that means Spencer Torkelson is not in the lineup. The most ideal lineup features Spencer Torkelson at first, features Kerry Carpenter in the DH, features Gleyber Torres at second, which left a really uncomfortable situation of, hey, why'd the Tigers pay why'd the Tigers pay Colt Keith all this money if he's just going to be sitting on the bench? Because there was no justification for him playing over Gleyber Torres at second base. Gleyber's been spectacular this year. Colt Keith isn't an above-average second baseman anyway, so the argument didn't exist. If he's going to be able to be an average third baseman defensively, all of a sudden you've got a real tangible way to get him back into the lineup, which I think you and I were asking about, why is he not playing third base, all the way dating back to spring training. Now, Zach McKinstry has been lights out not at third base, but in general this season. Part of that is the versatility, and part of that is he has the reverse splits. He's a left-handed hitter that actually is better against left-handed pitching. That right there is the key for why this can work. If Zach McKinstry is better against the lefties and Colt Keith is better against the righties, when you pay a guy like Colt Keith, it's probably better he's an everyday player. He hasn't played into that. And on a worse team, he would be an everyday hitter. But this is the best team in baseball at this moment in time. If McKinstry and Colt Keith can start platooning at third base, all of a sudden you have found a way to play every single one of your best players depending on who is on the mound for the opposing team. This is how you maximize the lineup. They got better when Parker returned. They got better when, even Sawyer Gibson Long returned. They continue to add pieces back. When Sell returned, they get a little bit better. Now you're actually figuring out a tangible way to maximize every single player on this roster, because you have multiple guys who can play different positions. If Colt Keith can actually learn how to play third base, that would be 3 different positions that he's played over the last year.
Which he has played in the minors as well.
Correct. And the reason they stopped playing him at third base, A, he wasn't very good. B, he hurt his shoulder, so they tried to move him a little bit closer to first base to not put any wear and tear on that shoulder. We're now 3 years removed from that injury, or almost 3 years. So they're open to the idea of him returning to third base. Then you get the most ideal lineup. There's not as much shuffling around. Everyone can play a few different positions other than a select handful of players. That, to me, is how the Tigers take an even further step forward, which they're already in first place. Not only literally in the standings, but in terms of what they can do with their roster and lineup on an everyday basis, depending on who's on the mound for the other team and where they're playing. That's how they become even more malleable and valuable, for that matter, with AJ Hinch, the super genius in the dugout, putting everything together.
Yeah, and we had the same conversation a few days ago when Parker Meadows returned,
Mm-hmm.
right? Talking about how this makes the lineup so much more versatile. This is like the maxed out version of that. Because now think about all the spots Javi Baez can play, right? Trey Sweeney doesn't have to play every day, but you can play Javi at third some days where you do want to give Colt Keith the rest. I do think Colt Keith is an everyday guy. I think that he deserves that spot and deserves to show that he can be an everyday guy. And that just makes, with him going to third, so much easier. And honestly, just a big shout out to Colt Keith, because he was the one preseason that got asked to move over to first base when Spencer Torkelson wasn't going to make the roster. And he was open to doing that. And now I don't know how open he is to moving back to third, but AJ Hinch kind of just said, I'm just going to do it and see how it goes. He said Colt hasn't even been taking practice reps there. He's just going to throw him there and see what happens. So I love that mentality from AJ Hinch. But yeah, this really changes things offensively for the Tigers. So many different things they can do. You know Hinch is going to get all 13 offensive players in the game throughout any given day. But it makes things a lot easier for him to do that with Colt Keith able to move into that spot.
Mm-hmm. Think about all the different guys on this team that play multiple positions, right? Obviously, the outfielders can kind of go across the board. Parker's the only one that's truly
I would
the
say
only one that
Carpenter
moves.
doesn't really count just because you don't want to put him in center. And corners is just like, I wouldn't count that as multiple positions, playing left and right.
No, but they have a legitimate three guys that could play any, like three center filders is the way they always put it. They have Javi Baez, who isn't even one of those three center fielders I just mentioned. The three I were meant to mention were Riley Green, Parker Meadows, and Wenzel Perez, all of which could play center in a pinch. Then you've got
Javier Baez,
who's playing not only outfield, but shortstop and third. You've got Zach McKinstry, who's played everywhere in the infield other than first base this season. You've got Andy Ibanez, third and second. You've got
first last year a little bit too.
And first. You've got Colt Keith, first, second, third. You've got, I already mentioned Javi. I guess that would be it.
Right.
Did I mention everybody? Yeah, Trey Sweeney only plays third, shortstop.
Sure,
Gleyber Torres only plays second. But other than that, feels like everyone can be moved around in any sort of way. And I know that makes AJ Hinch thrilled when he's putting together the lineup card, that he can give guys off days based on not just not playing, but hey, here's who's going to be DH today. You're going to be in one of the corners today to protect you a little bit long term. Ideally, Riley's not in center as much to just kind of protect him in the long run, working some DH appearances. I wouldn't be surprised if Kerry Carpenter was a DH today just because of that hamstring stuff that came out yesterday, getting scratched from the lineup, even though he went on to play a little bit later on in the game. It's the malleability that I don't remember ever happening to this extent with the Tigers team. Because back in 2013 when they went to the World, or like 12 when they went to the World Series, or any of those teams, everyone kind of had their position. Miggy switched up once Prince Fielder came in, but they had their everyday guys. Their second baseman kind of rotated a lot, but it was for the most part, everyone knows where they're playing and where they're batting in the lineup on a day-to-day basis. I love getting the lineup card and being like, what did Hinch do today?
Yeah, exactly.
It's one of my favorite parts of the day.
Lineup card. Yeah,
do we have a
shout
lineup
out to
card
Chet
today?
in the YouTube chat too. 60+ games at third base in 2023 for Colt Keith. So
in the minor league level.
he's saying, he's not unfamiliar to the position. He just hasn't played it yet at the big league level.
Oh, speaking of the lineup card, we just got that a couple minutes ago. Parker Meadows leading off, Gleyber Torres in the 2-hole. That's kind of ideal going forward, right? That's kind of just what it's going to be. No Riley Green today. He gets the off day. Kerry Carpenter is the DH third, Spencer Torkelson fourth, Wenzel Perez fifth, Zach McKinstry in left field, Wenzel Perez in right. Baez at third, Trey Sweeney at shortstop, Jake Rogers behind the dish, Casey Mize on the mound. No Riley today.
Keith and Riley day off.
Yes, Keith and Riley day off.
Interesting.
No Keith at third base quite yet. But with Javi playing
I could see him
playing
getting
third,
pinch
there's
hit
a platoon
for,
opportunity for him to be in at third base at some point today. I don't think Hinch says it if he doesn't plan on doing it within the day or within a couple days.
I agree. Let me ask you this, though. Does this change your opinion on the Tigers acquiring a third baseman at the deadline or acquiring a left infielder?
Yes. Because if they get if the Zach McKinstry Colt Keith combo at third would be just fine. I don't think that'd be worth bringing in another person.
Right.
Not to say I wouldn't want another bat added to the lineup, but I think a bullpen arm would be prioritized, or even a starting pitcher.
This is essentially adding another bat to the lineup, though, right?
Yeah, in a way.
One of these guys was on the bench at all times. Now he's not.
Yeah. No, that's exactly where it is. I think bullpen arm is still my number one priority unless you're trading for Paul Skeens, which we can debate whether or not is actually realistic. We've kind of been doing that all week.
It's not.
I think it might be. 989-837-6125. That's a number to get a hold of us here on the Mitt messages. You guys can leave a comment in the YouTube section as well. We'll wrap things up with the same tradition, same two traditions we always wrap up the show with coming up. But before we go, it is the summer months. Your grass is starting to get green. And if it's not, you need to make sure it's green. And the only people that can help you do that is Cervinsky Sod. Your dream lawn? Yeah, Cervinsky Sod can roll that out. Quite literally. Locally grown, top quality sod that turns patchy yards into backyard show stoppers. All your neighbors will be jealous. And they've been doing it for over 50 years. They're experts. Whether you're fixing a rough spot or redoing the whole yard, Cervinsky Sod delivers lush, green, and perfection. Fast, friendly, and farm fresh too. Because of your grass, it needs to be greener right now, especially in the summer months. So don't settle for meh. Increase the value of your home with a great lawn. Get the lawn your neighbors will envy with Cervinsky Sod. We'll wrap things up when we come back. It's the Ben Bosscher Show, 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
It's time to remember that. With Kyle Sandell.
Presented by Matt Larson, Farm Bureau agent located downtown Midland. With the NBA Finals starting this week, it's the 7th straight season with 2 new teams in the NBA Finals. It's a different era of the NBA when there was super teams with the Warriors running things, LeBron going to 8 straight finals. And I'm starting to hear the narrative that people are missing the super teams. They're missing the superstars, the dynasties of the league, a team to root against and hope there's an underdog that can take them down at some point. Well, I got news for those NBA fans. That is about to come back, and it all starts in this NBA Finals. The Oklahoma City Thunder right now are heavily favored to beat the Indiana Pacers and are set up for a future brighter than a lot of past champions in recent NBA history. 17 first-round picks over the next 5 years. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander just winning his first MVP award. Last year, they were the youngest 1 seed in NBA history. This team is set up to be a major dynasty in the NBA. So for those NBA fans that miss the dynasties, they miss the super teams, well, you have good news coming your way. A super team is being started, and it starts this week in the NBA Finals with the Oklahoma City Thunder. And thank goodness the Pistons, who are also a growing team, play in the Eastern Conference. Remember that. Presented by Matt Larson, Farm Bureau agent, located downtown Midland.
I'm Sarah Stockford, host of 100.9 The Mitt Success Suite, a podcast highlighting the most inspiring female leaders across the Great Lakes Bay region. This month, we spoke with Lisa Tarkington, Executive Director of LEAD, formerly known as Self-Love Beauty.
The year 2020, it was April, it was the month after the big shutdown. I called my mom and I was like, what am I doing? I have no money. I have no 401k right now. I have, I'm just making it, just getting by at this point, and the world just shut down. And she asked me, do you really want this? And I was like, I want nothing more than to see this succeed. She was like, then you'll figure it out. And I did. I don't know how I did sometimes, right? But I did. And I think that comes back to discipline, never giving up on myself.
Listen to the full interview with Lisa on YouTube at 100.9 The Mitt. Subscribe and hit the notification button to be alerted when new episodes drop. That's Success Suite with Sarah Stockford. Some nights are just different. The energy and feeling of being part of something bigger. That's what a Great Lakes Loons group outing is all about.
Whether it's your company, your family, or your best friends, the perfect space is waiting for you at Dow Diamond.
Relax in a private group venue with catering and wait service, or take in the action from a spacious pavilion where an all-you-can-eat buffet and amazing views bring everyone together.
With group packages starting at just $15 per person, it's more than just a game. It's an affordable shared experience at night out.
The best memories start here with your hometown team. Just visit loons.com.
The Michigan Baseball Foundation is more than just baseball. It's a driver of economic growth and community. Operating one of the nation's top minor league stadiums, MBF supports job creation and regional development. Through creative partnerships and charitable giving, MBF has helped bring projects like Dow Diamond, the East End Development, Fairfield Inn and Suites, the Plaza, and the Dow Bay Area Family YMCA to life, generating over $23 million annually in economic impact. Every Great Lakes Loons ticket supports these efforts. Learn more at MichiganBaseballFoundation.org.
This is more than just a lineup. It's a daily ritual for the die-hard Michigan sports fans. At 6 a.m., Anthony Bellino wakes up the state with Spin on Sports.
I do not believe it.
At 9, the Ben Bosscher Show is appointment listening hosted here in the Great Lakes Bay region.
I would like to buy some Casey Mize stock.
America's Best takes over at noon. The Herd with Colin Cowherd.
Well, what about Patrick Mahomes?
And at 3, Bill Simonson brings it home on The Huge Show. Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt for the most passionate fans in Michigan.
I'm Ben Bosscher, and here's what I think. I think replay should be taken out of basketball entirely. I think 2 super conferences would fix college football. I think the best football, basketball, and baseball players of all time are currently playing. I think the day the Lions win the Super Bowl is going to be the greatest day of my life. I think Monty Williams sabotaged the Pistons on purpose, and you can't convince me otherwise. I think Jim Harbaugh is one of the best coaches of all time, but most definitely cheated, got caught, and ran away. And I think you should tune into the Ben Bosscher Show, fueled by Forward Energy, weekdays 9 to noon on 100.9 The Mitt if you agree with anything I just said.
From Midland to Bay City, Saginaw to Sanford, from Frankenmuth, Greenland, and Hemlock to Auburn, Essexville, and Pinconning, 100.9 The Mitt is the heartbeat of the Great Lakes Bay region and proud of it. We're your home for local sports, local stories, and local pride. Whether you're in Birch Run, Beaverton, Gladwin, Chesapeake, or Coleman, football, basketball, hockey, Spartans, NFL, Loons, all right here. 100.9 The Mitt, Mid-Michigan's sports leader.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
All right, we've got 2 traditions. That would be how you say that word. 2 traditions to end every single show here on 100.9 The Mitt, Ben Bosscher Show. The first of which is a way to make some money. So without further ado, here is our Lock of the Day.
Lock of the Day.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
All right, so we're 2-1 on the week. We're 2-1 all time. We're 2-1 on the month. It's only day 4 of the show. How many units are we up on the week, Kyle?
2.52 units.
So technically,
you've locked the plus on the week.
Technically, we could go 0 for 2 the next 2 days and still have a positive week.
Yes, still be up half a unit.
The question is when we hit early on, and Monday we hit a plus 240, and then Tuesday we hit a what, plus 110, something
plus
like that?
112, yeah.
When we hit early, do we get even more aggressive knowing we can't lose on the week? Or do we play it a little safer?
And once again, the we here is this is all
just
you.
Me, yeah. Do I play it a little safer?
I'm the scorekeeper.
Do I play it a little safer and try to guarantee even more money? Today?
I think you need to keep in mind of your all-time score as well.
Which is the same as
because
the
this isn't
weekly.
just going week-by-week basis.
Yeah.
I mean, we are.
That's true.
But you do have some wiggle room, so it's your call.
I'm going to play it safe today, and then if we win today and we're up 3 units on the whole week, then we're going to get aggressive on Friday going into the weekend. So yesterday I had McDavid score a goal. Obviously it didn't happen. Yesterday is yesterday. Today is today. It's a new day.
Thank you for that.
Thank you. Today I have Chet Holmgren, 16.5 points over at minus 114. I think that the Pacers are going to be ultra aggressive in trying to stop Shai Gilgeous-Alexander tonight, throwing double teams at him. The Thunder have limited teams to 42% in terms of total field goal percentage. Teams are just missing. So I think there's going to be some opportunities for Chet to have some offensive rebounds and some easy putbacks there. I think they're going to get really physical with him and try to get him uncomfortable, but I think the only way to counter the physicality is to go right at them and try to get some whistles. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Chet at the line a good amount today, especially considering they're at home, and Oklahoma City always gets a pretty good whistle at home. If we're going to see double teams on Shai and we're going to see them be pretty physical with Chet, I think he ends up at the free throw line a lot or under the basket. Just got to have him hit a couple threes, and I like the over 16.5 today.
And you got that at minus 114, correct?
Minus 114 is what I had that at. He has the height over the other bigs, and honestly,
safest bet of the show so far.
Yeah, he has the height advantage over all the bigs for Indiana, and let's just face it, those backup bigs other than Miles Turner are just not very good. He's just more
They're
skilled.
putrid, yeah.
He's just more skilled than all these guys. So I like it. What do you think?
I like it. I think this is a good one. I like this as a safe play. Game one of the finals is always, no matter what team it is, it's always really hard to try to predict what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Especially with this Indiana team that has won every game one so far in this playoffs. 2 of them being on the road, so this is the 3rd one they've played on the road. I like it, though. I think Chet or iHeart is going to have a good game. It's kind of tough picking between the 2 of them, but I'm cool with this pick.
All right, Chet over 16.5 points. That is today's lock of the day.
Lock of the day.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
All right, the other thing we do is try to guess Colin's open. Colin's out for the week, so his buddy J-Mac is filling in. You got yourself on the board yesterday, man.
Yeah, take a look at that
point.
scoreboard if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook.
First,
a big 1 next to my name.
First point. We said yesterday we'd be happy if one of us got 1 a week. You got the 1.
Yeah.
Now we've got a chance to match it.
We do. And by the way, it was Tom Thibodeau being fired. Kind of an obvious one.
Yeah,
but
not obvious enough for me to predict it.
But I went first.
Oh, so it's my turn to go first?
It is.
I'm going to go with some Shai Gilgeous-Alexander legacy talk today. Some what happens if he wins, all-time allure thing, one of the best guards ever, / Oklahoma City's just a juggernaut, and they're going to walk away with this thing.
So we're being specific about this, right? If this is general Thunder talk.
You got to be, I don't think you have to be hyper specific, but I don't think you can say general, like one team talk. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like there has to be some sort of in between.
So like if he comes out talking about how the Thunder are going to, like this could be the start of something special for the Thunder. Are we giving you a point?
I think so. Thunder juggernaut / SGA.
Okay.
What he becomes.
I'll give you that.
Like if he goes like Thunder talk but ratings, I don't think that
counts. or just like game 1 preview.
Yeah. That doesn't count.
Doesn't count. Got it.
We
Okay,
need some
so that was
all-time
one of my
stuff.
2. That was one of my 2 picks. I'm trying to debate, would J-Mac lead with hockey?
No.
Like
no chance.
It's a topic that could be led with, but like I said, for that specific show and host, no, it definitely could be led with.
Not out
I'm
in
going
LA,
to completely
man.
zag here. Because he's pretty unpredictable. He's brought up Brock Purdy in his open. You kind of went this way yesterday, and I'm going a different way. I think we get some Chiefs talk today.
Some Mahomes talk?
Patrick Mahomes discussion.
Okay.
That's where I'm going to go. We haven't heard anything about Mahomes in a minute. They're just going to talk about, I don't know, how the Chiefs got a repeat back after losing in the Super Bowl, something. Mahomes-related discussion / Chiefs. That's where I'm going.
I'm surprised you didn't go the Belichick route. What's going on with Bill Belichick? Is he in danger?
Like, we haven't gotten any updates on that in a second.
Yeah, but it's fascinating. People listen to it. The Belichick
People do listen
stuff.
to it. It's a good pick. It's probably better than what I said.
Who is Jordan Hudson? What is her role with the Tar Heels? Well, apparently
Is she actually as young as they say?
I haven't heard that one.
Well, I'm just saying.
Is she allegedly older? Is there some conspiracy theories?
I was just saying something random.
Oh. If
Maybe
there's
she is,
some
though. Who
conspiracy
knows?
theories, let me know about it, though. I didn't know until I was listening to a podcast that apparently they met when she was 19. He just spotted her out in the crowd at a Patriots game.
It's just
like,
it's
what?
Just some major sicko behavior.
From Bill Belichick?
You guys are perverted.
What did we do? Bill
I'm just
Belichick.
saying Bill Belichick.
Yeah. I was
You
all
can't
in.
defend that.
I was all in on like Bill Belichick in UNC, and like I was like, hey, if Dion can turn things around, I don't see any reason why the best NFL coach of all time can't turn things around at North Carolina, a way better program. But now I'm thinking about this, like, he seems to be one too many distractions. All right, one more comment. All right, Ben, I knew you before. Great spot. Oh, I don't understand this text. All right, never mind. Too late. I'm not going to try to decipher it with only 30 seconds left. So, all right, everyone, appreciate you tuning in today. We'll be back tomorrow at 9 a.m. as always. 1 week almost down. 4 out of the 5 shows. Couldn't be happier to be doing this every single day. So, with that being said, hope everyone takes a lock of the day. Hope Chet Holmgren does get his 17 points. But we will see you guys tomorrow at 9 a.m. That was the Ben Bosscher Show. Hope it was worth it. Thanks for listening, guys. See you later.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.